Valleywide Cooperative. For 100 years, we've been your first choice for residential and commercial propane, fuels, oils, and lubricants. We service HVAC, install water heaters, propane tanks, and accessories. And yes, we'll even deliver right where you need it. Because for us, serving is more than a job, it's a way of life. We are proud to employ your neighbors and to be a cornerstone of your community. We're Valleywide. Yesterday, today, and tomorrow. We're here for you.
As Idahoans, we're not afraid to take risks.
All the way, all the way. Go. All the way down, all the way down.
Driving under the influence is not a risk we're willing to take. Be around to do more of what you love.
Vaping sucks you in quick, and the more you vape, the harder it is to quit. Not to mention all the chemicals and health problems. That's why thousands of teens are joining My Life, My Quit. Visit mylifemyquit.com or text Start My Quit to 36072.
Hello friends and welcome in to our North Idaho game night here on IdahoSports.com as we are live at the Bob Squires Sports Complex in beautiful Kamiah, Idaho. As always, this game is presented by Project Filter, Valleywide Cooperative, Next Steps Idaho, Ideal, Idaho's College Savings Program, and the Idaho Office of Highway Safety. Hello everybody, Hayden Ulenka here, as well as my broadcasting partner Kyle Schwartz, as we're getting ready for a beautiful and great 8-man White Pine League matchup between the Kamiah Kubs and the Logos Knights. Both teams coming in 2-0 on the year, as Kamiah won last week in a huge thriller, 18-14 against the Council Lumberjacks, where Logos won 40-0 against the Lapwai Wildcats in a game that only lasted until halftime. Well, Kyle, let's start with Kamiah. They had that thriller game the week prior. They played Lapwai, won that one very handily. But last week was a game that tested them. What was it about the Cubs offense that made, and Cubs team as a whole, that made them just come through and play in the big moments at the right time?
Yeah, I think they have athletes that can compete. They've been competitive in a lot of sports over the last few years. Obviously, they lost a star in Clute coming into this year because he graduated, now playing basketball at C of I. But I just think they have gamers. They have people that want to go out there and win. Lawson Landmark's a kid that can do a lot by himself. Everett Oatman has a motor that's never going to stop, and it's his senior year. I think he cares a lot about football, and this is his sport, so he wants to come out here and win and do his best. So when you have leadership like that, you got a new coach in here, there's probably a whole lot of firepower, and then Nels Klute's still on the coaching staff, so a little bit of old, a little bit of new. I think there's a lot of good things going on here for Kamiah with Lawson Landmark at quarterback, and Everett Oatman in the backfield, and then just a really good offensive and defensive line. That was a really fun game to watch last weekend, and I'm excited for tonight.
Yeah, you talk about that game. I mean, it was a game that Council led most of it, and in the last couple minutes, Council went and scored, and then Kamiah ended up scoring with, 10 seconds left. It was a pass where Lawson Landmark broke the tackle, rolled out to his right, threw a pass to Gavin Schoening in the end zone, and Kamiah then had to play defense with 5 seconds left, and Council had a shot. They, Owen Hatfield, the All-State quarterback, dropped back, threw a deep ball, and it was caught, and they were brought down at the 1-yard line. And so, props to Kamiah's defense because they escaped up in Council and, move on to 2-0. Well, let's switch gears to Logos. They come in 2-0 on the year. They're averaging 37 points a game and only giving up 4. Like we mentioned, their last game was against Lapwai. It was 40-0, so both teams have played Lapwai. But Logos' home season opener was against the Hagerman Pirates. And that was a game where the defensive line took over the ball game. There's 2 kids that had 5 sacks apiece. Peter Story was one of them, as well as Josh Prince. Their D-line looked really good. Their offense, though, was a little behind schedule. If you're Logos right now, what do you think are the main moments heading into this game that you maybe take away from Hagerman heading into this ball game?
Yeah, like you said, their offense I wouldn't say it struggled. They still played really well. I just don't think it was quite as efficient as it was last year when you watched the Logos Knights. You watched them last year, they were putting up big numbers real quick, real fast, and it was a big highlight of their skill players that they had. I think that their offensive and defensive line were equally as good last year and should have got highlighted more, but they were just so powerful. And I think that they'll get there throughout the season. I think Nick Holloway has built something really special up in Moscow to this point to make Logos what they are. And I think that they're going to be a really good team. And I think it'll just take some development over these first few games. But I still think they're one of the top teams in the state, and at the end of the year, you're gonna see them competing for a state championship.
Yeah, I think there's no question about that. Logos, loses 12, 14 seniors. They replace almost all of them. The only players that were getting quality minutes last year was Peter Story and really Baxter Covington. So Baxter Covington steps into that role at quarterback, and he's a guy that, what Nick Holloway gave to me was he's a smooth operator, if you know what I'm saying. Like, he's a guy that, slow is fast, fast is slow, right? He moves quick, and he's not like a herky-jerky kind of player. He really just flows through the defense, and he's a really good athlete on both sides of the field. Baxter's a kid that I'm thinking is going to make a huge impact in this ballgame.
I would agree, Hayden. He's a special athlete back there. Still a little new to running the offense completely by himself, as they had Seamus Wilson running quarterback last year. Very incredible athlete who graduated, but now they got Baxter Covington. But we got to watch these guys play a little bit last year, and Baxter Covington still got snaps back there at quarterback just because they blew out a lot of teams last year, which helped him and probably is in the position where they have more confidence at the beginning of the year than they might. And I still think we're just seeing the beginning of what Logos is going to be, and also for Kamiah. So I think this is going to be a really good football game tonight.
Yeah, you talk about even Seamus Wilson, the quarterback before him was Jack Driscoll. He's going playing college ball in the Midwest. So, a short, quick, good line of Logos quarterbacks that have led the way. So, back to Kamiah, I think they're led predominantly by Lawson Landmark. He's a kid last year, didn't play a lot of football, mainly because of injury. Was a sophomore, though, and contributed at a high level. The other guy that you look at is Everett Oatman. This guy played a receiver last year, but, man, we saw him on the basketball court last year. We saw him a little bit playing football. This guy has some absolute wheels.
Absolute wheels is right. If he gets out in space, he's gone every time. But also something special is he's not just quick and fast. He hits hard. On offense and defense, he'll go out and seek contact, and he comes off the line, comes off the snap as hard as possible. Very, very impressive athlete back there in the backfield. And I think Coach Bretz has something real special in the backfield. And I think if he gets this team on the right road, they could be really special by the end of the year with Everett Oatman in the backfield, Lawson Landmark. I think they have a decent line going. They just got to figure out their offense, which takes a little bit when you have a new coach in there. You're figuring out all the details, working out all the kinks. This is going to be a really good game for them to do that against a really good defense, maybe the best defense in the state. Probably the best defensive line in the state, though.
Yeah, I would agree with you. We were just panning a minute ago to Carolyn Frost. She was just inducted into the Kamiah Hall of Fame here at the Bob Squires Sports Complex. Carolyn was a member of the school district involved for, 30, 40 years. She was a bus driver at times. She always took gate. And so she just got, she was an honorary captain, came out for the coin toss with Kamiah. And now we're getting ready for some football as Kamiah is going to kick it away. Logos will receive, and Kamiah will get the kickoff to start the second half. If you're just tuning in, Hayden Uhlencott here, as well as Kyle Schwartz, as we get ready to bring you our North Idaho game night here on IdahoSports.com.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful night out here. I don't know if you guys can tell on the camera, but the sun is setting behind us, which is making the clouds a little pink up on the mountain. This is a beautiful football field and a great place to be.
Everett Oatman kicks it off, and into the hands is one of the Knights. That'll be Miles Miller. As Miller brings it up to the 41-yard line, and that's where the Logos offense will start things out. Both teams coming in 2-0 on the year. Kamiah's defense only giving up 10 points a game. As Logos runs an unorthodox offense. Lots of motioning and shifting. As you just see now, the guards were just eligible a second ago. Now, not the case. And it's a read option on the way. It's Covington. And powers forward to the first down. Right at the marker. And they move the chain, so one play in, and the Knights have a first down.
Yeah, you mentioned that unorthodox offense. You're going to see that a lot tonight. I feel like the last 2 games that Logos had, they didn't show that as much, but I think that was just because they're working out the kinks with the new pieces they have back there, and they probably have a little bit more dialed by week 3 with a good week of practice. So I'm excited to see what they got going here.
Covington in the backfield by himself. Receivers split out on both sides of the field, and it's going to be a run up the middle. And Kamiah shuts that one down. That's Damian Ochoa. You are going to hear that kid's name a lot. He's a junior middle linebacker. It's only his his first year playing football in a long time, and he is one of the standouts for the Cubs.
Yeah, you can already tell he has a motor that doesn't stop back there. He came off firing off that right side of the line there.
2nd and 9 here. 1 minute off the game clock in Kamiah. A man in motion. It's Greaser. Down the left side, a great blocking and kicked out just past the 30-yard line. A great run by Ace Greaser, the senior athlete. That's literally his position.
Hey, I mean, that's what you got to do. When you have that many athletes over there, you don't know where to put them all. They're just going to play over the field, and they're just athletes. And truly that. But I also want to shout out Honor Mallory. He had a nice block there to seal off the edge. That could only been a 5-yard run or even a loss, but really sealed the edge. Great blocking on the outside.
Back to pass. Covington throws a hitch route, and off the mark. On the play, Lawson Landmark, was a half second from an interception. Kyle, since it's such a beautiful game out, it's a beautiful day, beautiful game, you can make these memories of this game last a lifetime by owning a digital game file of this game for just $15. What's that? What's $15 nowadays? Just click the download files, archives, download archives, and the button to download the archives using the button, and it's all yours. They pitch it out to Mallory, and Mallory's still on his feet. Finally down past the first down marker. It's going to be interesting to get a good spot around here on the far side of the field.
One thing that you're going to have to notice tonight is Kamiah is going to have to stay very disciplined if they want to hang around in this game. Logos has a lot of athletes. They're very fast, and you're going to have to be able to stay disciplined, stay locked into your position because they'll rotate the ball back and forth real quick in front of you, and you'll get some open field eventually, but you can stay disciplined and you can stay in front.
Motioning from the offense, and it's a quarterback sweep all the way. Covington tied up and finally brought down. 4 or 5 Cubs there on the tackle.
I know Logos has marched down the field pretty well, and they've Kamiah's missed a couple tackles, but I feel like Kamiah's defensive line has really done well on this first drive, at least getting to that first level, maybe not making the tackle right away, but it makes them question it a little bit for the one of the best athletes on the field, Baxter Covington. He hasn't broke out for a long one, really.
2nd and 9 minutes here remaining in the opening quarter. Mallory split out to the right side of Covington with 2 receivers at the top of your screen. And up the middle, Honor Mallory goes, gets a nice shove, and they're going to down him, it looks like, just inside the 1 or 2 yard line. It'll be first and goal for the Knights. Both teams, lots of dudes on the roster. You're looking at, 25, 30 guys from Kamiah and Logos, up around 50. Not all guys came to dress down for Logos, but quite the turnout for the roster standpoint. It'll be inside to Mallory. First one there was Skinner for Kamiah, but it's a little too late. 2 yards out, Honor Mallory on the board makes it 6-0 for Logos.
Yeah, and they took almost 4 minutes off the clock there. That's a good long drive in 8-man football at least. I think they showed a little bit of their offense, but I think that there is that unorthodox offense that's going to come out a little bit more and a little bit more throughout this game. And we'll see if Kamiah, what they have in store, because sometimes with that unorthodox offense, you got to throw something special at it to just throw it off balance and make them a little uncomfortable.
A man in motion. It's a jet sweep to Greaser. Can he spin inside? No, the defense stands strong. So Logos drives 70 yards, ends up with the touchdown, but can't get the 2. We'll take a break, come back here on Idaho Sports in just 30 seconds.
We're Valley-wide cooperative. For 100 years, we've been your first choice for residential and commercial propane, fuels, oils, and lubricants. We service HVAC, install water heaters, propane tanks, and accessories. And yes, we'll even deliver right where you need it. Because for us, serving is more than a job, it's a way of life. We are proud to employ your neighbors and to be a cornerstone of your community. We're Valley-wide. Yesterday, today, and tomorrow. We're here for you.
Welcome back here to IdahoSports.com for our North Idaho game night here in Kamiah for some 8-man football. As the Logos Knights of Moscow take the opening drive and go the length of the field to score a touchdown. And now we'll see what the Cubs can do. And I think that's, Kyle, the main question is how can this Kamiah offense hold up against the defense? Like you talked about earlier in that first drive, Kamiah's defense, it was bend but don't break. They didn't give up any big plays. I think you're okay with that if you're Garrison Bretts. It's now, the offense's big moment here.
Yeah, I would say definitely. Against Council last week, their offense wasn't going at the rate that Garrison Bretts would like. But I think they have the pieces to do it, and they have the offense to do it. Let's hope that they had a good week at practice and they can show it here, something special.
A runner on the way, and it's Todd Roberts. Makes his way all the way to the 40-yard line, lost the ball, and luckily Logan Keene, the junior running back, landed on it, and so Kamiah gets a great return and almost lost it, but they get a second chance. And we'll see Kamiah's offense starting out. There'll be Keene in the backfield with the junior quarterback, Lawson Landmark. Three-man front for Logos. And they hand it off to Keene, and right away at the line of scrimmage, he's brought down, first one to get to him, Finn McCool, and I'm telling you what, he's got to have the coolest name in the state.
I was waiting for that. From the moment I saw this roster, I was like, Finn McCool is getting a mention and a shout-out from Hayden Uhlencott for the coolest name in the state. There is no doubt about it, and I would have to agree.
The other coolest name, we'll get to in a second. It'll be a quarterback sweep here on the near side. Landmark pitches it last second to Everett Oatman, and the Logos defense strung it out entirely.
Yeah, that was a late pitch there by Lawson Landmark.
You know what I was going to say is the other good name, Skyline, 5A football down in southern Idaho. They have a cornerback. Do you want to know his name? Taylor.
Taylor.
I'm telling you what, that might be the second best one, but Finn McCool has it won.
A good one was out of Oakley. I think he graduated last year. Razor Duke.
I think that was Butte County.
Was it really? Yeah, I think you're right. It is Butte County. I got the teams mixed up.
3rd and long, Kamiah pass out to Everett Oatman. And right near the first down marker, Everett Oatman with the catch and run with his pink gloves.
Yeah, and Lawson Landmark last week, they're liking to get him out of the pocket early, which is probably a benefit playing against Logos, and he can make some really nice throws on the run, right or left. To the left is a lot harder because you got to flip your hips to make that throw, but he is really good at it. I was impressed the whole game against Council, watching him being able to navigate in the backfield and make throws from whatever angle.
Short mark there. It's going to be 4th and 4. There's 6 minutes here left in the first quarter. Landmark trying to draw off the Knights. They hand it off to Oatman, and he is piled up in the backfield. We're going to have to find a name on that one. There is no number 24 on the roster for Logos. Yeah, we're going to have to dig into the archives to find that one.
Yeah, they sold us short on the roster we have here, but that was a nice tackle. Lawson Landmark tried to draw him off sides with the hard count. Didn't work. Give it to your stud athlete, Everett Oatman. Couldn't get anywhere. One thing I did notice on that first drive is last week, Kamiah spread it out. We're only having 3 down linemen. I think they know that Logos's defensive line's really good, so they were keeping a 4th down lineman every time there, just for extra blocking and protection.
1st and 10 for Logos after the turnover on downs. They send Mallory in motion. They pitch it out on the far side. The reception by Ace Greaser, but only a gain of 2. During this broadcast, we'll be recognizing some of our power boosters for the Kamiah Kubs, Cloninger's Marketplace and Jesse Hunt Logging. Cloninger, I tell you what, if you ever come to North Idaho, Cloninger's has taken over the map. They got Grangeville, Cottonwood. They're up in Weippe now. Handoff on the way for the Knights.
Yeah, I remember when we were in high school, Hayden. It was probably forever ago, right? No, I'm just kidding. A couple years ago when we were in high school, it was one of my favorite things to come by playing Kamiah. One, because it was always a good competitive game for us, but 2, the deli at Cloninger's was always top spot. And I love swinging by that grocery store. And I'm not just saying that. I actually mean that. When they had the pizza sticks, I was there every single time.
Personal foul on the play. And they're going to give it to Kamiah. And so a new set of downs is the call. As soon as they get the chains right, it'll be 1st and 10. Yeah, say the 35-yard line of Kamiah. 4:50 left in the first quarter. And on the ground, Kamiah ends up with it. A bad snap. And we'll get a number here in a second, as that was Gavin Schoening there on the fumble recovery. The senior linebacker pops in off the muff snap, and the Cubs back in business. Huge break for Kamiah. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Cubs. New life. As in the backfield, it'll be Oatman and Keene alongside Landmark. Landmark back to pass. All day to throw, scrambles out. Looking for a man across the way. It's caught. That one's Todd Roberts.
Yeah, they did that a lot last week. I was telling you, him on the run, throwing the ball is really impressive. 1 foot, 2 foot. He can do it all back there. maybe watching Patrick Mahomes and all the new quarterbacks in the NFL, you see how much the game has changed. Quarterbacks are getting on the run, being able to throw at different angles, different spots, unbalanced. It's not traditional to what a quarterback used to be, but it's really impressive and it's fun to watch.
Landmark with his first completion of the game, and he's going to take it here on a quarterback sweep. Decides to check back and just drop to the ground. That was a business decision by Lawson Landmark, as Joshua Prince was coming right for him.
Good business decision. Great business decision. He was coming in hot. Just duck down. You're not getting anywhere. You might as well save your body a little bit. But last week against Council, he was able to run around a little bit like that, spin off of people, maybe get just a couple extra yards. Against this defense tonight, you might not be able to do that as easily. 2nd
and 15 for Kamiah. 3:30 here in the first quarter. Lawson Landmark on the run. Dumps it off to Oatman. What can Oatman do? And gains a couple. Good team defense from Logos. Going to bring up 3rd and long for Kamiah. You know, if you're interested in joining the team here at Idaho Sports, we're always on the lookout for talented people that want to get involved in what we do. Sales people, Kyle, if you're a salesman. Producers, camera operators, we got good ones here. Writers and photographers, even broadcasters. I tell you what, email editor@IdahoSports.com to find out more. It's a great gig. Can't lie.
You could come hang out with us on a Friday night. It doesn't get any better than that, and then stop by Cloninger's after your game and get the pizza stick with Kyle.
100%. 3rd and 7. Lawson Landmark running around and finally brought down. Last effort play. Now that was Peter Story. And he is well on his way to an all-state name selection there. He's been terrorizing quarterbacks for the last few weeks.
Yeah, you said he had, was it 5 sacks in the one game? Is that right, Hayden?
5.
That's impressive. Some people don't get that in the whole season. He's doing it in one game. Very impressive.
And a timeout taken on the field. It'll be Kamiah. And so we'll do the same. Step aside, take a quick break, and come back here on IdahoSports.com. Logos leads 6-0.
Idaho isn't your average state, and we are not your average people. We're not afraid to jump feet first, and we see the world a little differently. We know the importance of slowing down and the value of catching up. When we're not busy getting lost, we're looking out for one another. Our whitewater is aggressive, but our driving is not. We know all about taking chances, but we also know our limits. We drive safely because we care. It's who we are.
Welcome back here to IdahoSports.com. It's 4th and 8, and coming out of timeout was a punt look, before the timeout, and now they come back right back in it. Do you think there's going to be anything suspicious here?
I wouldn't think so.
And we're right. Punts away for Everett Oatman. It's a good one. And going to be down at the 1. Man, if there was some guys hustling even faster, they could have got him pinned inside the 1-yard line. A great punt from Everett Oatman.
Yeah, great punt. Was it Ace Greaser back to receive that punt?
It was.
Ace Greaser went to go take a step back to read where the ball was going to be at. Slipped. Fell on his face. He caught himself. He's all right. But when he got up, he realized the punt was too close, so he just stepped out of the way. Smart move, but almost got him pinned down on the 1-yard line just because for some reason these 8-man fields don't have turf like the last game me and you did together in Lewiston.
Weird. Yeah, weird. We don't have turf here in Kamiah. 1st and 10 for Logos at their own 20 off the touchback. In motion, they hand it off. That's Olaf Sundley. Oli. And gains 3 or 4. Going to bring up 2nd and 6. 3 minutes remaining in this first quarter. Here in North Idaho game night. If there's other games you're interested in tuning in on, go to Game String like you just were. And you can watch McCall Timberlake. You can watch, let's see what other ones we have on the docket. I'll look around as I ramble. It's 2nd and 6 for Logos. And they go to Mallory. Hops over a man and gets the first down. Other broadcasts we have going on is Timberlake and McCall, like we mentioned, Cuna and Middleton, Skyline in Madison, Century, Idaho Falls, and Oakley, Raft River. A lot of those games outside of McCall Donnelly. It's probably getting late into the third, fourth quarter, so could be watching some good football. And there's a lot of good games. That's what's that game that I'm looking for? Madison Skyline. It's a big 6A, 5A cross matchup there between some top teams. It'll be 1st and 10 for Logos. They send Greaser in motion. Covington rolling out, had a man, and pivots around. Far side, has a blocker. More of it. Will anyone catch him? I don't think so, but I stand corrected. A beautiful play from Everett Oatman.
Yeah, I think Baxter Covington made it a little harder on himself than he needed to be. Not sure what wide receiver he had open on this near side of the field, but he was wide open. And he decided to turn around, take it for himself. Nice little walk up the far sideline and got it down within the 5.
Sam Rigney, I think, was the receiver open. And you're right, that was going to be an Idaho Sports Play of the Week. And saved by Everett Oatman. But there's 2 flags. There's one at the 5-yard line. And there's also a flag right here on the 50-yard line. There's a holding on Logos. And there is a horse collar on Kamiah. So offsetting penalties. And I think that means we'll replay first down. So that Idaho Sports Play of the Week is, in the scraps. That never happened. Forget, erase it from your memory.
Yeah, forget about it. But I would say I still think it could have been the one of the plays of the game if he would have just hit the open man there. But hey, sometimes you don't see it. He didn't like the angle. He obviously has a better perspective than we do, sitting up we're not in the booth, but in the stands here today. You mentioned a good 6A, 5A matchup with Madison Skyline. Another good one is Bishop Kelly and Rigby down south. That's a big game of the night. And Bishop Kelly's winning 14-7 right now against Rigby, the number 1 team in the state.
Yeah, I got to tell you what, Paul, that's a question. Mr. Paul Kingsbury, man, that seems like a good football game. Real good football game up here in Boise, Idaho. Nonetheless, we have an even better one here. It's Kamiah and Logos, 1st and 10 for the Knights. We have a minute 35 here in the opening quarter. Garrison Bretz gets a response from his official. The head referee is Kirby Kirkham, as well as Aaron Lockhart, Darius Mangum, and Stillman Norton. Great District 2 officials. As Covington throws it out wide, Greaser has room. And a holding call is going to bring it back on the Knights. You don't see a lot of, you see speed option, you see that, flick with the offhand. You don't see it too often where your quarterback is running to his left, turns right, throws the ball backwards, and then you have to have that running back adjust and catch the ball and keep running. A risky play, to say the least, for Logos.
Yeah, risky play is right, and I actually don't know if I've ever seen that before, and we've seen 2 interesting plays by both quarterbacks on both sides. Earlier we had Lawson Landmark give a really late pitch to Everett Oatman. There we had a really late throw, not really a pitch, even though it is backwards, back to the running back there. 2 risky plays. I mean, they both worked out, so what do we know, Hayden?
1st and 15 for Logos. Hand off to Mallory in the backfield for the Cubs is Gunnar Wyatt. The 5'11", 205 nose guard on the tackle. And sets Logos back now, 2nd and 11.
I can say I did not see this coming from the Kamiah defensive line. I knew that they were a good team all around, very competitive. But the defensive line for Kamiah has really impressed me so far in this first quarter. I know it's early, but it's going down there in the trenches.
We finally hit the minute mark, so a minute left in this opening quarter. Covington all alone. Sends Greaser in motion. Play action. Covington down the field. Adjustment by the receiver and just a little too much. Ezra Schaefer was the recipient and went right through the hands. So now 3rd and long for Logos.
Yeah, that's the old saying that the coach will tell you when you're young. When it's a ball like that, you just keep running. You don't hesitate at all as the wide receiver. And I think he had the slightest little hesitation when that came out of Baxter Covington's hands that it was going to come up short. And I think that was the reason it was on his fingertips instead of right in his lap. That was a really nice ball. You'll see them come back to that later, I'm sure.
3rd and 11 for Logos. We have 40 seconds here in the opening quarter. Covington looking deep, has a man, Ace Greaser, just over the mark. And 3 and out for Logos, perhaps?
Yeah, we'll see what they do here on this 4th and 11. They're backed up a ways, but they also have very powerful offense.
Sounds like from the feel that they're going to punt it away, so Kamiah, a huge defensive stand. As you know, maybe midway through this first quarter, Logos was driving, and then they ended up turning it over on, fumbling it, and Kamiah holds strong. And so Logos will punt. Looks like it'll be Covington on 4th and 11. And a delay of game on Logos, so back him up 5 more.
Garrison Bretz is really liking what he's seeing over there. He's pretty pumped up and excited. And we saw that out of the Council Lumberjacks a couple weeks ago. They were a pumped up coaching staff, and I see him over there doing it as well. I think he has a big belief in his team.
4th and 15, Covington to pump it away, and it's over the head. Here's trouble for Logos. Covington from the 5. Let's see what he does. There's a flag flying. And down back at the line of scrimmage. Here's a huge play for Kamiah.
Yeah, 2 flags flown there. I would assume one was a holding.
Holding on the offense. That's declined. And 1st down for the Cubs from the 25. Man, if you could ask for a last half of the first quarter, if you're Kamiah, you are ecstatic.
Yeah, this is a great first quarter for them. Well, Logos probably hasn't had to punt a whole lot this year. Probably haven't had a whole lot of practice. But the long snapper sailed it over Baxter Covington's head and was not able to get off a punt. That's a tough situation. You pick up the ball. You have a couple options. You just try to throw it towards one of your running backs, wide receivers, get it down to back to the line of scrimmage, but there ended up being a flag. Doesn't matter anyway. It goes back to the same spot.
Landmark hands it off to Oatman, and he has nowhere to go. That one's Joshua Prince. Or rather, I take that back, Finn McCool on the tackle.
Finn McCool on another tackle. Hayden, I want to ask you a question. You got to see a PAT kick last weekend in Kendrick.
I did.
And I was thoroughly impressed. I didn't get to tune into too much of that game, but I was impressed. That was the one part of the game that I really got to tune in. Maybe we'll see another one tonight. What do you think? Is it going to happen?
We'll get my 2 cents in 30 seconds. End of the first quarter, Logos leads it 6-0.
At all our local Teton dealerships, we're committed to our no problem philosophy.
No problem means we'll find it, not we don't have it.
No problem means the same fair prices that we've always offered on our new vehicles.
Because when you shop with us, it's always no problem to buy and service your vehicles.
We're back here on IdahoSports.com for the second quarter here of an 8-man matchup on our North Idaho game night. You want my take here quickly of the PAT from Raleigh Rotosender of Kendrick? It was awesome. You know, he pinned it right through the uprights, had a few extra yards on it, went right into the greenhouse of Kendrick. And here's Landmark on a screen pass to Todd Roberts. And Roberts is met by Peter Story. And it's going to be halfway to the first down marker, but not enough.
Damian Ochoa came in and lit somebody up. Let it fly. It was a clean hit, clean block, but he let him have it. Good physical football here on a Friday night.
3rd and 1, better spot than I expected. And Landmark's under center with 2 receivers split out. Quarterback sneak, and that D-line of Logos isn't having any of it.
Yeah, the tush push did not work like it did last week for Kamiah. When I saw them run that last week, they would almost get 3-4 yards almost each time when they were doing the tush push or the quarterback sneak, whatever you want to call it. Not so much tonight against the Logos Knights.
4th and 1. Here's a big play. Big play. Kamiah, coming off, if you're just tuning in, Logos had a snap over the head, turns it over on downs at their own 25-yard line. Kamiah now in prime position at their 15 to tie this ball game up or take the lead against the number 2 ranked team in the state. They send Oatman in motion. Landmark rolling out, finds Oatman in the corner of the end zone. Or they mark him short. They mark him at the 1. It was close, but they're going to mark him right there. So now 1st and goal from the 1. Cubs in a good spot. We were all excited for the play of the week, Kyle. Man.
I know. I'm telling you, that is a really hard throw to make, to roll out to your left like that, have two wide receivers rolling out to the same side. You get to pick one or the other. You have to hit really tight windows and flip your hips to make a throw off balance. I'm really impressed by Lawson Landmark making those throws the last couple weeks.
1st and goal from the 2. 9:45 here in the first half. And the sidecar is Oatman. And they pitch it on a reverse. Can Todd Roberts squeeze it in? No siree, down at the 1. 3 more cracks at it if you're a Cubs fan. Man, you're going to take advantage of these ones.
Yeah, I mean, you don't often see a jet sweep to the short side of the field when you're on the 1-yard line because really the defense is loaded up on that side already, and then you just don't have that much field to work with if you're running east-west instead of north-south like you would on a jet sweep like that.
2nd and goal. They're saying it's the 2, but I'm thinking it's closer to the 1. 9 minutes remaining in the first half. They bring in the bigger back, Logan Keene, and Landmark's on the run. In the back of the end zone, incomplete, looking for the intended receiver, Gavin Schoening. So now, one more try, 3rd and goal.
What do you go to here, you think, Hayden? I mean, really, they haven't been able to get a lot out of Everett Oatman in the backfield, just getting downhill. It's been probably Lawson Landmark rolling out as their best option no matter what here, I think.
3 receivers at the bottom of your screen, the short side. Landmark tied up, spins around. Has space, diving to the end zone. He's in. Kamiah on the board and all tied up at 6 apiece.
And fireworks going off here for the Kamiah Kubs. Real excited here in the crowd. Tied 6-6 in the second quarter with the number 2 team in the state. You can't complain. You're actually feel like you're in a really good spot. Defensively, they've been impressive. Offensively, things are moving slow, but you're okay with that if you're Kamiah. You're comfortable with that because Logos wants to overpower you offensively, and I think they're playing their game right now. I think this might be part of Kamiah's identity so far early on in this season is maybe the offense isn't everything, but their defense is holding up, and their offense can still play enough.
2-point conversion here. Landmark. Fading route into the flats. Logan Keene, 2-point lead for the Cubs. It's 8-6. Kamiah with the lead. We'll take a break. Come back here in 30 seconds on Idaho Sports.
Idaho isn't your average state, and we are not your average people. We're not afraid to jump feet first, and we see the world a little differently. We know the importance of slowing down and the value of catching up. When we're not busy getting lost, we're looking out for one another. Our whitewater is aggressive, but our driving is not. We know all about taking chances, but we also know our limits. We drive safely because we care. It's who we are.
Welcome back here to IdahoSports.com for our North Idaho game night. Thanks for kicking it with us. Hayden Ulenkai here, as well as Kyle Schwartz, and our cameraman brought up a great point. There's 8:42 in the second quarter. Kamiah had the ball the whole time, and they only drove 25 yards. They are using the clock to their advantage and have a 2-point lead.
Yeah, and you don't, coming from the words of Sammy Mager, you do not want to get in a boxing match with the Logos Knights. They can throw punches and they can throw haymakers with the athletes they have back there. But Kamiah says we got the athletes to contain and make it work. And it's going to be a slow, long game, and you're going to have to sit on defense in a defensive stance for a solid couple, probably good 15, 20 seconds before we're going to snap the ball, and we're going to wear you down and make it our own pace of game.
Oatman to tee things off. And a nice boot back deep's Ace Greaser, I believe. And good return up to the 30-yard line.
And I think the belief that the Cubs can really compete in this game and possibly win this game has made its way up into the stands. Everybody's lightening up a little bit, getting a little excited, cheering a little bit louder. At the beginning of this game, they seemed a little quiet, unsure how the season was going to go maybe. Logos was super powerful last year. That game did not go how they wanted it. But I think there's a little belief in the stands, and that's all it takes to get it going.
1st and 10 for Baxter Covington and the Knights. Quarterback run from Covington, powers forward for 6. Bring up 2nd and manageable.
Even though Baxter Covington gets solid yards, Kamiah's been able to at least touch him early, but he's impressive back there. He can break most tackles, big, strong kid, really high-level athlete. So, I mean, props to Logos and how well they can have how good of a quarterback they can have back there. But also Kamiah's getting there. They're getting closer than maybe some teams would.
Covington had a full head of steam and tied up at the line of scrimmage. Everett Oatman there on the tackle, but moves the chains. Talk about last year. Logos beat Kamiah 64-20. And, you know, Logos obviously lost a lot of dudes. Kamiah didn't lose a ton, but they lost David Clute. And so you're thinking, wow, you know, Logos maybe has all this firepower. And, man, Kamiah so far looks really good. Really good. You know, a quarter and a half in. We're at the 7:30 mark. It's 1st and 10 for Logos. Quarterback run once more. That's 3 in a row. And Covington's just putting his team on his back and carrying the way.
Yeah, and I feel like that's probably what Logos is going to be most of the year, and rightfully so with Baxter Covington back there. But you mentioned, like, obviously how good Logos is and how good you saw Kendrick was last week, and now we see how good Kamiah is this week. And then on top of that, Prairie went down and beat Valley last week. The White Pine League is really, really loaded this year. I mean, it's pretty crazy to see. There's 5 teams that are really, really impressive. 4 or 5 teams that are really impressive.
Covington runs a read option and once again throws it. And luckily for him, he throws it forward because the receiver on the play, Justice Mallory, lost his footing. And when he stood up, the ball already flew right past him. And, yeah, a lucky break for Logos brings up 3rd and 4. And we do not have Baxter Covington in the backfield right now. I don't think. That looks like Joseph Sensing. And that is the call, and a timeout on the field. It's Logos. And we'll keep it here. Why not? We want to recognize more of our power boosters for the Cubs, as we mentioned, Cloninger's Marketplace and Jesse Hunt Logging. We never even got to talk about Jesse Hunt because we were all obsessed about the pizza sticks at Cloninger's. Logos has Forged Construction, Norms, Window, Doors, and more, and Panhandle Heating up in the Pacific Northwest. Other things we want to note is, you know, Idaho Sports is a lot more than just broadcasting. Continue checking back to the website for updated scores, schedules, standings, polls, action photo galleries, and written content from every corner of the state. You can also check out our expanded list of regional podcasts, prepcasts, or resident experts talk about what's going on in the part of the state where you live. Be sure to catch the new regional prepcast each week on IdahoSports.com. You can tune into the North Idaho Prepcast. That's myself and Ryan Skaggs. You can tune into East Idaho. That's Joel Richardson and Sean Kane. You can even turn into the Magic Valley, Scott Burton and Brandon Bainey. Man, we got it all in the state of Idaho. Here's 3rd and a long 3, and it's Sensing into the ball game and gets the first down. Joseph Sensing subbed in for 1 play. But there is a flag on the far side of the field.
I did not see what happened over there, Hayden. Did you?
I don't think anyone was looking. And if you're a player, it's a personal foul. And if you're Logos, you know, you're Nick Holloway over there, you've got to be frustrated. The play's 30 yards away from you. And you had a first down, had Kamiah off guard, and now you're backed up on a 3rd and long.
Yeah, that's disappointing as a coach because right now, as you watch your players, you're probably the team that was expected to win going into this game. You're in the 2nd quarter. It's 8-6, and now really you've just been shooting yourself in the foot. 1 snap over the head on a punt. Now this is the 2nd penalty that they've had. That's really affected their drive. The first one, they were down within the 5. Now this one would have been a first down, and their offense would have been rolling. So you're really disappointed in the discipline that you have as a team. But also, you have to understand, it's early in the season, and like you said, they lost a lot of seniors last year, so now you're just learning a little bit just to figure it out.
Sensing's still in the ball game. We haven't tracked down where Covington's at. I don't think he's on the field, and it's Sensing once more. Quarterback run. Runs over a man right back to the line to gain, and it's going to be close. So Joseph Sensing, he's called Jose Sensing. That's what they call him, Jose.
Jose Sensing.
I tell you what, I talked to Nick Holloway. They have all kinds of nicknames there up in Moscow. And it's a first down. Still not tracking on where Covington's at, but he might be in the back. It's hard to tell right now. That looks like Baxter there. It is. He takes the snap, hands it off. Hard running by Olaf Sundley. Oli with a good run there.
Yeah, Oli got hit 2-3 yards behind the line of scrimmage there. Broke that one. Got hit another time at the line of scrimmage, and then gained a good solid 5 yards there and got hit again. Finally went down after the 3rd time.
2nd and 5 for Logos, slowly but surely moving down the field. We have 5:15. Mallory with the ball. Full head of steam, gets the first. But Everett Oatman there once more on the tackle. And a first down again for Logos, continuing to move. We got 5:10 here in the second.
Yeah, as much as we were talking about Kamiah milking the clock, realistically, Logos has taken a long time to get down the field. That could be because of how well Kamiah has been holding up, and they're not quite used to that. But really, this game, both offensive teams have held the ball for a long time.
So we have Sensing and Covington in the backfield. Covington pitches it to Sensing, and Schoening on the tackle. A little slippery out, and Gavin Schoening takes advantage of it, has the home field advantage. You know, what I was thinking there was, man, you have two quarterbacks in the backfield. You might do a little bit of what Coeur d'Alene has, you know, with Tanner Stern, Caden Simmons. You never know.
Yeah, you could do what they're doing. We also saw a little kind of similar thing in that Council Lakeside game we did, where Lakeside was running a little bit of that funky quarterback, running back duo, where they're both really kind of quarterbacks, and maybe that's the thing going around the state. Maybe it's catching wind, Hayden.
Yep. 2nd and 9 for Logos. And a timeout taken on the field. It'll be the Logos Knights. There's 3:55. The second quarter's flying by. It's 8-6. Kamiah with the lead. We'll take a break. Come back here in just a bit on IdahoSports.com.
Vaping sucks you in quick, and the more you vape, the harder it is to quit. Not to mention all the chemicals and health problems. That's why thousands of teens are joining My Life, My Quit. Visit mylifemyquit.com or text Start My Quit to 36072.
We're back here on IdahoSports.com for our North Idaho game night. Thanks for joining us. Hayden Uhlencut here, as well as Kyle Schwartz, as we have a matchup of the undefeateds here in Week 4 of the 2A season. If you're just missing it, Logos started off the drive, went right down the field and scored. Kamiah took a little bit of work, but off a high snap on a punt from Logos, they took advantage of it. From 25 yards out, end up on the 2-yard score from Lawson Landmark. And here we are for Logos at the 35-yard line. It's 2nd and 9, just under 4 in the second quarter.
Yeah, if you're Logos here, you're thinking, all right, we can milk this out, score one more time before halftime. And if you're Kamiah, you're like, all right, we're going to get them right here. We're going to get the ball back real quick, and we're going to march down and really make a statement going into halftime. So I think Kamiah can really put them on their heels, or Logos can make their own statement.
Covington up the middle, scampers for a solid 10, and moves the chains. The crowd's kind of gone a little quiet here in Kamiah after that. You know, Logos is really starting to march. And it's 1st and 10. Logos, like we mentioned, 2-0 in the year. Last week played Lapway, 140-0 at halftime. Lapway's playing Prairie tonight. That's an interesting game to keep our eye on. That one's in Lapway. Kamiah, like we mentioned, played Council. Council, not entirely sure who Council plays. Council has a just loaded classification. And taking insight from the fans, there's a new quarterback on the field once more. It's Joseph Sensing. Jose. You can see Covington straight away. It's not an injury problem, and a flag flies and delay of game on Logos. Now that is a drawback if you're a Knight. You know, you're moving in and out with these quarterbacks. Time's ticking and have to get organized with your players. Results in delay of game, and, you know, Covington chugs back in. Now 1st and 15, 5 yards back from where he started.
Yeah, and that 4 to 5 minute spot is where they're at when they got the ball. It's a weird spot because, like I said, you can either chug down the field really fast and try to score, but that hasn't been the case, or you can try to milk it out.
Sensing, looking deep for Covington, And a flag flies right at the goal line. That's going to be PI, and that's a tight one. Now that is a tough call. Everett Oatman right there with Baxter Covington. And I'm thinking that's going to be a first down and 10 on the Cubs. A tough one. Lucky for them, it's not the NFL. It's not a spot foul. It's still 15 yards. Just gave you your first down.
Yeah, that's a tough one. And if I'm not mistaken, Hayden, that might be, other than that offsetting penalty that happened on Kamiah, I think that's their first flag of the game.
I do believe you are correct. It only looks like a 10-yard penalty. Interesting. Okay.
We might have to reach out to our cameraman, Sammy, and get the what for on that. I thought it was a 15-yard penalty as well. Guess we're wrong.
What do we know? 1st and 5 is the decision. Covington hands it off. Mallory, far side. Can't squeeze by Everett Oatman once more on the tackle. I think he's been there about every single play for the Cubs.
Yeah, seems like they're running it right at him, but I think it's just because Everett Oatman's just all over the field, just flying around, and that's how he was in basketball too last year. He's everywhere all the time, fired up, ready to go, just playing with hyper energy. Fun to watch in any sport, but especially in football when you have big hits and you flying around making every tackle.
Once more up the middle, and Schoening stops it all. 2nd and long now. We have 2:15 in the first half. There's been Kamiah's had the ball once, and this is Logos' first drive of the second quarter. Both teams really going slow here. Not what I was expecting. I was expecting a lot quicker of a game, but what our cameraman said, Kamiah kind of has to play slow, and Logos is matching him. Mallory up the middle. No, faked out. It's a pass. It's caught. Wide open. I wish I had a number. It's number 24. We're going to take a guess and say it's Gabe Miller. That's my hunch. And Logos back on top.
I like it, Hayden. I like going with the hunch. He's probably right. I can't imagine where this number 24 went, but sometimes it just happens that you forget the jersey at home. It's high school sports, and your mom forgets to remind you to bring your jersey. When I coached basketball last year, it happened a few times, I'm not going to lie, and you just show up and you make it work. There's always an extra jersey in the bag, sometimes a couple.
It's normally not a 24. That's like the first jersey pick.
Hey, you never know. You never know. Maybe people don't like the number 24 up there, and it was a backup. Or maybe they just messed up and had a typo on the roster.
And a timeout on the field. Logos decides to take it. We'll keep it here and recognize a few more of our great power boosters once more. Cloninger's Marketplace, Jesse Hunt Logging, and Forge Construction, Norm's Window Doors and more, and Panhandle Heating. Ms. Kyle, we're heading to the halftime break. Let's get your quick thoughts here. If Logos gets this too, they're going to be up 6 points. You've got to think Kamiah has got to put some sort of effort in to score before the half. What do you think is their best method? Because like we've seen, they've kind of gone slow.
Yeah, they have kind of gone slow. But as we know, last week they were in the 2-minute drill and were able to go out and score and win the game with 10 seconds left. So they can do it. And the benefit is Lawson Landmark is when he's rolling out to his right or left, he's getting people right on the sideline and to get him out of bounds.
They send a man in motion. Covington pitches it to him. It's Rigney throwing it. And incomplete, looking for Ace Greaser. Can't come up with it. A nice play there. Ends up with nothing. And so it'll be 12-8. Logos with the lead. 1:45 remains in the first half.
At Valleywide Cooperative, we're here when you need us. For 100 years, we have been here to help you with food, fuel, and good old-fashioned advice. And for us, serving is more than a job, it's a way of life, which is why we pour so much into the communities around us. We've employed hundreds of your neighbors. We take pride in that, and in giving back millions in sponsorships, grants, donations, and scholarships. It's our way of saying thanks. We're Valleywide, and yesterday, today, and tomorrow, we're here for you.
We are back here on IdahoSports.com, 145 in the first half. We'll touch on some of the Friday night flash scores around the area at halftime, as there's a lot of interesting ones so far. We'll touch on them in a bit. As kicking off for Logos will be Finn McCool. Finn kicked off as a junior, and he'll be doing the same this year as well. Kamiah, though, like you mentioned, getting Landmark rolling around, I think that's got to be kind of your answer with $1:45 left in the first.
Yeah, I think it's your answer. It'll stop the clock if it's an incompletion, or if you do get a catch and he's on the edge there, he'll be able to get it out of bounds, or somebody will be able to get out of bounds.
Roberts stood up at the 30, and that's where Landmark trots out to start things.
But maybe within all of that, maybe there's a little bit of misdirection. Maybe this is one of those times that you break out one of those special plays that you've been practicing, little trick play. Sometimes you need those to break off something big, and really it's no harm, no foul when as long as you do it with a little bit of time, with not too much time left on the clock, because you don't want Logos to have time to drive back down the field. You can make a big statement going into halftime.
3 receivers on the near side. Landmark rolling. Finds Oatman. Drops down. Clock's going to move. Landmark, though, really good on the run. That's where he's very comfortable.
Yeah, that seems to be the space where he competes at the highest. He's a little upset there because he underthrew or threw that one behind Oatman a little bit.
Far side, 3 again. Landmark rolling out. Same route combination across the middle. Schoening just muffed it. And 3rd and 4 with 1:07 here in the first half.
Yeah, and Kamiah did that quite a bit last week, where they're getting him rolling out, which we've talked about quite a bit, but throwing it back across the middle, which is a little unconventional. But in 8-man football, where people are chasing to the ball so much, especially when you have an athletic quarterback like that, there's often open spots, and I think it could really be an advantage throughout the season for Kamiah.
Twins to the far side, 3rd down. Landmark has pressure. Prince on the run. Takes off himself and wisely gets out, and an official is down, as well as a Logos Knight. A flag flies late. Now this could be interesting. It looked like it was going to be...
It'll be on Kamiah. I'm not sure what player it was.
An official is down. I don't think we have an replacement here. Our cameraman is volunteering, though.
Hey, we got to do it all, guy. Hopefully the official's all right, though.
Getting checked out by the medical staff of Logos. One minute on the clock exactly. And we're going to take a break here. Big play coming up. And we'll be back in just a few here on IdahoSports.com.
Vaping sucks you in quick, and the more you vape, the harder it is to quit. Not to mention all the chemicals and health problems. That's why thousands of teens are joining My Life, My Quit. Visit MyLifeMyQuit.com or text Start My Quit to 36072.
on his feet is the official. Glad to see he's up and moving. It's a tough world out there being a referee. And there's not a lot of them. So, if you're interested in being an official, here's your sign.
Here is your sign. You just want to keep your head on a swivel so you don't get taken out like that. Glad to see he's all right, though.
Looks like he's going to resume playing, so that's great.
Yeah, 3-man crew would have been tough.
Like we said, we had a fourth guy right here. We would have volunteered him as tribute.
Yeah, Sammy Boy in his bright green shirt tonight would have blended right in.
Yeah, speaking of the green shirt, we'll touch on it. Down in southern Idaho, Tanner Scoresby is a really good athlete from Thunder Ridge, lost his battle with cancer the last few days, had a huge community behind him. And today, it was a big deal to wear green. And so that's what all of us are doing, just recognizing how big of a difference Tanner Scoresby made in the life of people all around the state. But here we go. It's 3rd down and 15. Lawson Landmark on the run. Brought down and kicked out at the line of scrimmage. Going to be 4th down. So Logos' defense stands tall and burns 16 seconds off the clock. Or was it a little bit more? I don't think it was much more than 30 seconds. We have 52 seconds left in the ball game. And Kamiah is going to go 3 and out.
Yeah, go 3 and out, which was just off of a lay hit there on the far side, personal foul. They had a 1st down. Lawson Landmark got out of bounds, would have stopped the clock. Now you're in a position where you got to punt it, and maybe they can pin them deep, hopefully.
Oatman takes his time, boots the way. Gets a Kamiah bounce. And Kamiah is going to let this sucker roll as long as they can. And it stops at 40 seconds, so the Logos offense will trot out. And with 40 seconds, there's a lot of time left. Kamiah, or Logos, I believe, only has 1 timeout remaining, if that.
Yeah, you just nothing deep here, really. Just keep everything in front of you. Just square up, make a good firm tackle. Don't let the athletes get out in space. I would imagine that Logos probably has some. They're probably going to look to that deep pass that they ran earlier. 2 out of the fingertips.
Quick throw, though. It's out to Sensing. Can't break the tackle. Good play there by Schoening. Clock's going to move. And it's going to be 2nd and long. 2nd and manageable. Hurry up offense for the Knights. Covington across the outside. Couldn't find the receiver there. It was Sam Rigney. Stopped the clock for them. 19 seconds left in the first half. 3rd and 6 for Logos.
Yeah, and Kamiah's coaching staff is telling all the linebackers and the corners and the safety to get back deeper. No reason to be up close here. Only sending 2 or 3, keeping everyone else back in open space. There's absolutely no way they're going to let a deep ball happen.
In the backfield next to Covington is Sensing. Covington wants to scramble. Has time here and a lot of space. And doesn't go out of bounds, so the clock's going to move 9 seconds. And I do not think they're going to get a playoff here. Right at the buzzer, they go for the spike. And that will be the first half here in Kamiah. It's 12-7, Logos, 12-8, Logos with the lead. We'll take a break, come back. You might as well watch our plays of the week from last week here on IdahoSports.com.
We're Valley-wide cooperative. For 100 years, we've been your first choice for residential and commercial propane, fuels, oils, and lubricants. We service HVAC, install water heaters, propane tanks, and accessories. And yes, we'll even deliver right where you need it. Because for us, serving is more than a job, it's a way of life. We are proud to employ your neighbors and to be a cornerstone of your community. We're Valleywide. Yesterday, today, and tomorrow. We're here for you.
As Idahoans, we're not afraid to take risks.
All the way, all the way. Go. All the way down, all the way down.
Driving under the influence is not a risk we're willing to take. Be around to do more of what you love.
Vaping sucks you in quick, and the more you vape, the harder it is to quit. Not to mention all the chemicals and health problems. That's why thousands of teens are joining My Life, My Quit. Visit mylifemyquit.com or text Start My Quit to 36072.
.446 to play. It's play action. He rolls to the near side. Looking for a receiver. Finds a wide open man. That's number 88 with Greengrass. 5-man front. Drops back. Has time. He's got room. He goes for it all. And that ball is caught in the end zone. Mason Davis. No.
There's a snap. Keeper all the way. Comes around. It's a first down. Crosses midfield. They're not going to stop him. 56-yard keeper. Taking it about the 15. Big guy running, has some room, breaks through everybody. They're not going to get him. Kickoff return.
Kirkland, quick throw to the outside. Finds Silflo, has space, lots of it. Gets past the defense. To the 10, in for another touchdown. Steps up. On the rope, intercepted. Rodescender's kick, up and good. Who knows? Maybe
His right foot, there's the snap, the hold, the kick is up. The kick is gonna be good. Stoddard from 44 yards, 10 seconds left.
Will take the snap and he'll sweep to his left as he has lead blockers in front of him. He's gonna go all the way. Touchdown, Lupe Ortiz.
As Idahoans, we're not afraid to take risks.
All the way, all the way. Go. All the way down, all the way down.
Driving under the influence is not a risk we're willing to take. Be around to do more of what you love.
Idaho isn't your average state, and we are not your average people. We're not afraid to jump feet first, and we see the world a little differently. We know the importance of slowing down and the value of catching up. When we're not busy getting lost, we're looking out for one another. Our whitewater is aggressive, but our driving is not. We know all about taking chances, but we also know our limits. We drive safely because we care. It's who we are.
We're Valleywide Cooperative. For 100 years, we've been your first choice for residential and commercial propane, fuels, oils, and lubricants. We service HVAC, install water heaters, propane tanks, and accessories. And yes, we'll even deliver right where you need it. Because for us, serving is more than a job, it's a way of life. We are proud to employ your neighbors and to be a cornerstone of your community. We're Valleywide. Yesterday, today, and tomorrow. We're here for you.
Welcome back here to Kamiah High School at the Bob Squires Sports Complex here on IdahoSports.com for our North Idaho game night. There's another one up in Spirit Lake as McCall Donnelly and Timberlake are playing off. And Brandon Bainey's on the call there. It's a good game to tune into, especially if that game's not quite at halftime. But we thought, Logos has the lead 12-8. We'll get stats in a few minutes, but we wanted to touch on some scores around the state of Idaho. In the fourth quarter, up in the 6A ranks, Rigby is losing to Bishop Kelly 22-15. Capitals up big on Bora. Coeur d'Alene leading 14-6 against Sunnyside in the third quarter. Hillcrest has the lead over Thunder Ridge. Skyline up on Madison 28-14. That's a 5A over 6A right now. Meridian is up on Owyhee. Middleton up big on Cuna. Eastmont has the lead on Post Falls. Eastmont's a school from Washington. Then Rocky Mountain has the lead on Mountain View. In 5A, Blackfoot's up big on Pocatello. Canyon Ridge is leading Mountain Home. Sandpoint, they're cruising right now, 28-3 against Davis of Washington. Century, they are going to move on. They're looking like they're going to move on to 4-0, up 34-13. Minico leads Jerome 20-0. Lakeland, another North Idaho team, 17-0 against West Valley. Here's something you want to hear, Kyle. Lewiston leading 27-0 against the Clarkston Bantams of Washington. Looks like Zane Hobart might get that first win of his, illustrious 6A career, 4 games in. Ogden leads Preston 24-0, and Ridgeview leads Emmett 26-21. What else is going on around the state of Idaho? In 4A, Homedale leads Kimberly 28-21. Payette leads Nissa of Oregon 44-0. And another final, Filer beat Parma 63-0. And in the second quarter, if you're curious, McCall Donnelly leads Timberlake 33-0. Well, let's drop down into 3A now. Why don't we? Aberdeen up big on Salmon. Weiser up big on Melba. Grangeville trailing 20-30 against New Plymouth. At the halftime in northern Idaho, Priest Rivers trailing Newport, Washington 8-14, and Ryrie beat Marsing 41-0. In the 8-man world, Murtaugh beat Rockland 42-20. Cascade and Idaho City went off, and Idaho City won 34-8. In Malta, Raft Rivers up 74-26 against Oakley. Another big score here. Here's one, Kyle. I actually want your opinion on this. Hagerman up 54-24 against Valley. Now let's step back. Let's view this from a bird's eye view only in North Idaho. Does that say more about Prairie, only beating Valley by 8? Or does it say more about, what Kendrick and Logos did to Hagerman?
Oh, well, that's a tough question to hit me with halftime, Hayden. Wow, that's impressive. Okay. Off of first initial reaction, bird's eye view, like you said, I would think.
Oh, that's the fourth quarter, sorry. But, yeah.
Fourth quarter, still an impressive game there from Hagerman. But I would say that Kendrick and Logos beat up on a good Hagerman team. I think that Hagerman's good. They're going to be able to compete. I would imagine they would be able to hold their own when it gets to state playoff time. But I still think that's a really big win for Prairie. Like, I don't think there's a lose situation for anybody there. I think it's a big win for Prairie last weekend. I still think Valley's a really good team. I think Hagerman's a really good team. I mean, that might be the most
it's a hard question. Maybe Hagerman's just playing really well, right? Hagerman has struggled to start the year. They come up and play these two North Idaho teams. They're, arguably the two best teams in the state. And finally, they're like, okay, we can get away from Northern Idaho, and we play a team like Valley, who, don't get me wrong, is good, but maybe this is their chance. Like, we're going to show what we have. So, yeah, Hagerman up huge. So that's the score. That's the score that I look at outside of the BK Rigby game that I'm like, holy cow, that's a big one to think about how that shapes the 8-man landscape, especially with this game being 12-8 at the break. So, Kyle, you spent some time. What do you have at the halftime break for stats?
Yeah, for stats here, we had our man Cole Hewlin hooking us up on the iPad, running some stats for us. Lawson Landmark has 3 rushes for 14 yards. And Everett Oatman has some rushes on the game, but his stats did not transfer over properly, but I would say he's probably has the most carries for Kamiah. We don't have that exact stat on here. And then for Logos, Baxter Covington is leading the way just as we expected. He has 8 rushes for 60 yards. He does have that one fumble that is associated to him off the snap. And then passing, he's went 2 for 7 for 10 yards and 1 touchdown. So not super efficient, but he does have that 1 touchdown, and they do have the lead. And I feel like he's thrown a lot of good balls that could end up in some big plays later on in the game. Kamiah on the passing side of things, again, those stats didn't transfer through either, but that's all right. Landmark has thrown some really nice balls on the outside, been able to move the ball when he wants to, and I think he just makes really good decisions back there overall. Really impressed by both of them. Logos has spread the ball around. Ace Greaser has a couple rushes for 24 yards. Mallory has 24 yards on the ground, and Sensing also has 13 yards on the ground. Overall, for Logos, they have 157 yards of total offense, but the penalties have really killed them and sent them back, whereas Kamiah only has 10 yards on the ground and a total of 48 yards total on passing and rushing together. So Kamiah hasn't been necessarily the offensive powerhouse, but we didn't expect them to be. They've just been in the right place at the right time, taking advantage of the opportunities to put themselves in a game, slow it down, and give themselves a shot here in the second half, where I believe they will be getting the ball first.
I think you're right. What would you say is, we're 2 quarters in. What's the key to victory right now? How does Kamiah win this game?
I think defensively they just keep doing what they're doing. Honestly, they haven't made a ton of mistakes outside of that one PI call that is the reason they're losing right now, probably, on that last drive, which helped Logos out pretty significantly. But offensively, I think that they got some kinks that they need to work out. And if they can just iron out a couple of them going into the second half, being able to be a little bit more multifaceted other than Lawson Landmark rolling out and making a decision, what she's great at and can do, but it just puts you in a really tough position because Logos eventually, with how good their defensive linemen are, they don't have to send much, which can drop back in coverage and make the passing windows for Lawson Landmark more difficult. So I would say just being able to somehow find a little seam where you can maybe get Everett Oatman just running the ball a little bit, or just find a little misdirection because they once they sell out one way, they're going that one way. So just a little misdirection, I think is going to make a difference. But they've done a good job of managing the clock, and I think they have a good shot, and they've put themselves in a good spot to win this game, or at least be in this game, and it makes a statement across the state because Logos is really good. They're the number 2 team in the state, and you're hanging around, and you're probably not really supposed to be in this game as close as you are.
Yeah, you touch on Kamiah, how I think everyone's maybe a little surprised how close this is right now. I think they're playing really well, really holding back this offense of Logos. So if you're Nick Holloway, you're probably like, man, I probably feel the exact opposite of Garrison Bretts right now. If you're Logos and you're Nick Holloway, what was that halftime speech, would you say?
You got to sit down and be disciplined and just not make those little mistakes where they had them pinned down within the 5, but then they had a holding call. You got to make the easy throw. I mean, part of that holding call was because Baxter Covington decided to switch sides of the field, run all the way back across, which makes it tough on a lineman. So as much as you want to blame it on a lineman for a holding call, sometimes it's a little bit on the quarterback. Not that we're pointing fingers here. So it's just those little things where you got to make the easy play. And I think that they just got to stick to who they are. You don't have to do too much. You don't need to get frustrated. This is one of the closest games that they've been in. One this year, but really 2 last year, other than that game outside of Kendrick. So I think you just got to get the young players to stay disciplined, stay within yourselves, and know that the game plan is going to work out. You just got to stay to it.
I agree with you. Well, we got a minute left till the third quarter kicks off, so we're going to take a break. Come back here on IdahoSports.com.
We're Valley-wide cooperative. For 100 years, we've been your first choice for residential and commercial propane, fuels, oils, and lubricants. We service HVAC, install water heaters, propane tanks, and accessories. And yes, we'll even deliver right where you need it. Because for us, serving is more than a job, it's a way of life. We are proud to employ your neighbors and to be a cornerstone of your community. We're Valleywide. Yesterday, today, and tomorrow. We're here for you.
As Idahoans, we're not afraid to take risks.
All the way, all the way. Go. All the way down, all the way down.
Driving under the influence is not a risk we're willing to take. Be around to do more of what you love.
Vaping sucks you in quick, and the more you vape, the harder it is to quit. Not to mention all the chemicals and health problems. That's why thousands of teens are joining My Life, My Quit. Visit mylifemyquit.com or text Start My Quit to 36072.
Welcome back here to IdahoSports.com as we are getting ready for the second half of action for our North Idaho game night. If you're just tuning in, Hayden Uhlenkott here, as well as Kyle Schwartz, getting ready to bring you a huge 8-man game in the second half, a tale of two undefeateds. So Logos will kick off to get things rolling. It'll be Finn McCool. Roberts the returner. And met early Joshua Prince. The senior D lineman on the tackle, and Logos fired up starting off this third quarter.
Yeah, and I think that's probably part of what that talk was at halftime. You asked me that question. I think it was probably a little bit of energy. You got to pick it up. You got to act like you're the better team on the field and act like you've been here. Still be humble and everything, but come out with some energy. You're a good team. Go out there and play like it. And also, I want to notice they haven't kicked towards Everett Oatman. I know they've only kicked off. That's the third time, but they will not kick at Everett Oatman. They know him in space is a dangerous deal.
It's a good decision. Well, they send Oatman in motion. And a busted play from the start. That D-line was in the backfield when Lawson caught the ball.
Almost could have took the handoff.
This is the most energy we've seen from Logos all night. I think Nick Holloway gave a pretty good speech.
Yeah, I think that's probably an underrated part of the job as a coach. Everyone thinks it might be X's and O's, but can you motivate your guys? I mean, you're not trying to pull them along, but you got to light a fire under them sometimes, and clearly that might be what it takes.
2nd and 14, and I believe Landmark rolling out, finds Everett Oatman up the middle. Juking through defenders, but 4 Logos Knights there. Going to bring up 3rd and 6.
Yeah, and they ran a screen there in that first half. I think it was to Todd Roberts, gained quite a few yards as well. It's definitely a really good strategy against a really aggressive defensive team, and something you can execute 3-4 times a game for a decent chunk of yardage when you need it.
Big play here, 3rd and 7. Landmark rolling left. Little jump pass to Oatman and just out of bounds. 3 and out. Kamiah goes, but they're at their 30, so you could go for it. You definitely could.
Yeah, I think you trust your defense here. They held out for you for the most part in that first half. Not many football games where you're going to see 8 to 12 at halftime. So I think you just kick it back to them. You've been able to punt well and stick with your defense, and you'll be all right. It's a long game, as Kamiah has shown.
This is weird, Kyle. We don't see a lot of defense in 8-man football, so a tight, low-scoring ball game to start the third, it's a beauty. Oatman kicks it away. And that's Ace Greaser. Gets 1 tackle and can't get by Everett Oatman. He was headed to the house.
Yeah, Everett Oatman flew in there kind of out of nowhere. I mean, he kicked the ball off. So the punter goes and gets the nice tackle. Maybe not like the NFL. The punters up there can't tackle super well, but when your punter
is Everett Oatman,
who happens to be your probably best defensive player, that says something.
Getting a little rowdy up here in the stands. Logos' first drive of the second half starts at the 41 of Kamiah. 2 minutes gone in the third. Olaf Sundley in motion. And on the far side, it's Covington. Spins off a man. Gains 5.
They are fired up over there. There's people jumping up and down, real excited just on a 5-yard gain. I mean, nothing wrong with it. You like to see the excitement. Just they got something going on.
Covington comes off slow. Either, don't want to speculate, either a lower leg injury of some sort or cramps. You always hope for cramps. I mean, you don't hope for cramps, but if there's any sort of injury, you always just pray it's a cramp. But it's 2nd and 5. Now here's the luxury for Logos. You have Joseph Sensing who can step right in and play.
Yeah, that's very true, and it throws a whole different dynamic of the way you play defense when you have a different quarterback back there, but they also got a little sense of it, no pun intended, in that first quarter.
Sensing tied up but brought down. I thought he was going to get out of there, but no siree. As on the tackle was Boone Cox, the 6'1", 220 defensive lineman in his junior season. 3rd and short for Logos. Nine minutes remaining in the third. Pitch out. It's Sundley. And just nothing more than a few. Gets the first. Oatman once more on the tackle. If we had to guess right now, Kyle, how many tackles do we think Everett has? Just a ballpark.
I'm saying it's close to 10.
I think you're right. I think we might be low.
We're taking the over on 10.5 here in Kamiah, Idaho from Hayden Uhlencott. We're not betting on high school sports, don't worry, but Hayden is taking the over on
No, I'm taking the I'm taking the over. You were right. I bet he is going to be close to 20 by the end of this thing. Sensing still in the backfield, no Covington. It's 1st down and 10 for the Knights. Sensing on the far side. And kicked out, but got back inside and moved right up to the next line of scrimmage, and a flag flies late. That looks like an after the play penalty.
Yeah, I think he was a little far out of bounds there and got hit by a Kamiah Cub.
Our head referee, Kirby Kirkham, Aaron Lockhart, Darius Mangum, and Stillman Horton. And a personal foul, is that the call? On Kamiah. So I'm assuming it was a late hit on the far sideline. And so 1st and 10 for Logos.
Yeah, I feel like Logos in that first half kind of shot themselves in the foot a couple times, and that's really what kept Kamiah in the game. Now Kamiah seems to be doing the same thing back to themselves, which Logos does not need any more power than they already have, and more energy than they already have over there.
Yeah, talk about a game swinger. Now you're at the 7, and your offense is in a prime spot to score with 8 minutes left in the third. Still, the officials having a discussion, and we're ready to roll. Will be 1st and goal from the 7. Sundley in motion. They pitch it to him. And nowhere to go. That was Rylan Skinner there on the tackle.
Hayden, you mentioned that Kamiah really, or you mentioned that this has been a defensive battle. You don't see many games, third quarter, almost halfway through, scores 8-12. But for Kamiah, this is almost the exact same spot they were in last week. This is maybe who they are, like I said in the first half. This is their identity. They want to just grind it out with you, keep it an actual football score that you would see in an 11-man game.
Sensing, dancing, and incomplete. Schoening there on the deflection, looking for Ace Greaser. Going to bring up 3rd and goal from the 8. You could be right, and I think this is a game that, Logos has the lead right now, but it's kind of playing into Kamiah's favor. But, this touchdown, if Logos were able to score, would create some distance as Covington trots onto the field after taking a hiatus of 4 or 5 plays and steps up behind the center. 7:25 in the third, 3rd and 7. 3rd and goal. Covington up the middle and brought down. Everett Oatman once more. Big play here. 4th and goal from the 3. Do you go to Covington here? Do you look past? Where are you thinking?
I mean, they get 3 to 4 yards, sometimes 5 or 6, just when they have everything spread out, and Baxter Covington just takes one drop and then takes his full head of steam forward. So I'm not opposed to going away from that, but also they can really do anything they want for 3 to 4 yards. It seems seems like this game.
Send Greaser in motion. Covington back in the end zone, incomplete. Gabe Miller can't hold on, and the Cubs defense stands tall and takes over at their own 3.
So now the question becomes, can you really swing the game completely back in your side? You can take a lot of time off the clock. You might even be able to get it to the 4th quarter.
You can get it to the fourth quarter.
If you just walk down the field 97 yards, and then you end up 14-12, maybe 16-12, and then you put a team that's the number 2 team in the state really questioning themselves in the 4th quarter. That's the game plan just for this drive, but really just play it one step at a time. Try to get your 3 to 4 yards, and maybe just break something open that you might not usually have.
You know who has the most pressure right now? Damien Ochoa, but he did not have any problem. But that D-line stood him up right at the 1. They're wanting a safety. They're not going to get it. Peter Story still on the ground. And we'll see what's going on there. You're right. That Logos defense backed him up inside the 2 to the 1. And it's going to be a big play for that Cubs that Cubs offense. Well, you know, Kyle, during games like this where it's a really tight ball game, you can make the memories of this last a lifetime by owning the digital game file of this game for just $15. Just click on the Download Archives button to order yours. And we also have prepcasts here on IdahoSports.com, North Idaho, East Idaho, Magic Valley. We have Gem State Game Day where we go over the upcoming 8-man games. We also have the Idaho 8-man prepcast. Story gets off the field, looks to be okay, trotted off. And now 2nd and 11 from, probably the 2. Landmark, low snap, has lots of pressure, finds Schoening at the 1, and can't break through. A shoestring tackle there by Dane Wilczewski. They call him Whistle Pig. I'm not kidding, I didn't make that up. I don't even know how to make that up.
Hayden's not that creative for anyone at home, so don't worry, he did not make that up. That is a real nickname.
That is Nick Holloway, all him.
I would like to say that is a really risky play to run backed up in your own end zone to run a screen because one.
Oh, he caught it at the 1.
Yeah, he caught it at the 1, but it's pretty often that a wide receiver misses a block on the outside. That could have been intercepted in the end zone, basically. Or it could be batted up in the air and touchdown if it's caught. Just a risky play, but it worked out.
3rd and 4, Keen in motion. Landmark rolling to the near side. Spinning off runners and still on his feet, breaking away. Lawson Landmark has to get past Covington. Down the sideline, puts on the brakes and stepped out at the 6. A game-swinging play for Lawson Landmark. And now the chain gang has to get on their horses.
That's really the first big play that we've seen all game where the Chains are running down the field trying to chase down Lawson Landmark along with everybody else on the Logos defense.
5 minutes remain in the 3rd quarter here on the North Idaho game night. Pro gun look for the Cubs, Keene and Oatman. Landmark rolling out. Has pressure. Back shoulder finds Everett Oatman. And down at the 1. But a flag late. And a roughing the passer on Logos. So Kamiah, I would think they're going to decline the penalty here as they had it at the 1-yard line.
Same situation they were in earlier on the 1-yard line. It took them 4 tries to get it in earlier. Maybe it going 4 tries isn't a bad thing. You milk a little bit more clock.
Yeah, they moved down here a lot quicker than I think they expected, that we expected.
Hey, you take what you can get, right, Hayden?
At the 1-yard line, Kamiah will have it 1st and goal. Empty backfield for Landmark. Rolls right across the middle, and Roberts can't hold on. Naked in the back of the end zone. As always, this game is being audio streamed live and free on IdahoSports.com. If you have friends or family anywhere in the world that can't be here in person, give them a call. Tell them to watch the game on IdahoSports.com. Oatman motioned out. Landmark taking it himself. Up the middle and stood up by the D-line. 2 more tries, right?
Yeah, 2 more tries. I mean, this is almost identical to what happened. You try to get something up the middle. It's clearly not working against Logos. I would imagine, just like last time, we'll see Lawson Landmark rolling out to his right or left. I would imagine his left this time. There's a little bit more field over there. And he's going to just trot over there, make a little off-balance throw, make it look easy. That's what you're hoping if you're a Kamiah Cub. For the Logos Knights, they're over there. We're going to do the same exact thing they just did to us down within the red zone.
Landmark. Out route and wide open. Gavin Schoening. And a flag flies, likely taunting, but Schoening into the end zone. And Kamiah back on top with the lead.
Yeah, Gavin Schoening with an absolutely beautiful route there. Left the defender in the dust, but wide open. Little taunting call after the play, though.
Not quite what we're looking for.
And it looks like we got an injured player on the field. Can't quite tell who it is.
14-12, though. Kamiah with the lead with 3:42 in the third. Half the coaches of Kamiah are with their team, the other 2 with the injured player. And, you know, on Idaho Sports, there are a lot of roles, but the most important role is the businesses in the area. Do you think you have what it takes to be a power booster for your school on IdahoSports.com? Power boosters are a great way for you and your business to be seen by tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands of current and potential clients and customers. And the best part, 100% tax deductible. Email sales@IdahoSports.com to find out about how you can become a power booster on IdahoSports.com. So the unsportsmanlike penalty, it must have been negated or offsetting because they're still at the 2.
It'll be set off on the kickoff, Hayden. That's usually the case when it comes to penalties that happen after a touchdown. It'll come off on the kickoff.
All right, fair enough. 2-point by Todd Roberts is good, and Kamiah with the 4-point lead over the number 2 ranked team in the media and coaches poll.
Yeah, and Hayden, like I said, now you've put Logos back on their heels a little bit again in the third quarter. If you can make a stand again, which you've shown that you can do, and go down there and score one more time and make this a 2-score ball game, you're in a really, really good spot. Now, they probably didn't manage the clock exactly like they wanted to there, but you'll take a long Lawson Landmark run any day of the week, especially when your quarterback's bouncing off guys, going wherever he wants, then he breaks one off for I don't even know how many yards. I can't count that. I don't have that many fingers. But it was a long run, biggest play of the day here in Kamiah on both sides of the ball. And I think we're setting up for a really good fourth quarter with a game that you're not going to see too many 8-man games come down to be this close to start of a fourth quarter.
Unless you're, Kamiah and you play Council the week prior. Like, that's an advantage, actually. Garrison Bretz, it's his first year coaching, not football. It's his 7th year overall. First year as a high school head football coach. And, you look across the valley of Ty Kemp over there in Kendrick. He plays in 80-point ball games. How much experience, is Garrison Bretz getting right now in these tight ball games? They're going to be so critical to, have those late game scenarios throughout the season.
Yeah, it's going to help you insurmountably. That's not the word I was looking for, but that's all right. Insurmountably. Thank you, Hayden. A little slow today. Insurmountably throughout your season. And once you realize that you can be the underdog and go into a game, now when you line up against Kendrick here in a couple weeks, you're going to say, hey, we have a shot. Like, we have a legit chance. And you're also going to make a statement to the rest of the league. Prairie's fighting for that spot. Potlatch is fighting for that spot. That you're here to play, and maybe you're a top 2 team in the state. Who knows? But they're showing it tonight, and I feel like they really got something figured out on the defensive end. And this could be a really scary team once it gets ironed out throughout the whole season offensively.
We still have a little bit of time left. There's 3:42 left in the third. And Logos is going to have the ball, but they're going to be pinned deep unless they go for a pooch kick, and that's the decision. And a fair catch, really heads-up play there by the Knights. And good starting field position.
Yeah, let's see what Logos has in store here. I would imagine, I would think their coaching staff is probably a little bit disappointed with how they've played this whole game, but you just want to go out here and throw just a haymaker right now. Just take the air out of the building, see if you can get a long bob, see if you can get Baxter Covington just out in some open space to do some work, and work is magic.
1st and 10 for Logos. Flag flies, and it's going to be a false start on Logos. Back them up 5. Ace Greaser comes up a little slow.
Yeah, and the penalties are really killing Logos. I mean, they seem to be getting somewhere, and then a flag flies, and then it's almost like you said, you get into these close games and you find out who you really are and what you're really made of. And sometimes those frustrations come out. We just saw where they had a taunting penalty and now a false start, which doesn't seem like a whole lot, but it's a mental error that just keeps building upon everyone and can affect the whole team.
1st and 15, handoff to Mallory. Gains a few. Yeah, and you talk about, like, experience. Like, Kamiah actually probably is the more experienced team right now. I mean, in regards to amount of dudes that have been playing varsity football. You look across the way, you have Lawson Landmark. You have Everett Oatman. You have Gavin Shoney. You have Rylan Skinner. This Logos team only has a couple dudes that got quality reps last year. And so that's a serious question for Logos. Covington taking it himself. 2:55 in the third quarter. Third and 4 for Covington. Far side of the field, 2 receivers split out. Covington pitches it out, arid pass, and luckily it's incomplete. Kamiah's defense, though, brings up a 4th down.
And we were just talking about earlier how into it Logos's team was coming out of halftime. Now you got the Kamiah Kubs over here on the sideline getting the crowd into it, getting them yelling a little bit. Now they're in a 4th and 5, 4th and 4, 4th and 5 situation. If you hold here and they punt and you're up, you milk the clock for a long time. Well, that's assuming you don't have a Lawson Landmark just break out and walk in or walk as far as he wants to, apparently. But honestly, Kamiah is in a really good spot. I'm thoroughly impressed.
Covington's going to punt it away, it looks like. Everett Oatman slowly taking steps back. Covington gives it the boot. And not a bad punt, but Kamiah is going to start out around the 40.
So if you're Kamiah here, you're looking at this at 2 different ways. You're winning, you're up, you can milk the clock, kind of like they've tried to do all game and have done pretty well. but also you don't want to mess up your momentum. You could.
Yeah, you got to keep pushing the issue.
Yeah, we could just go to Everett Oatman, but he hasn't really been able to get anywhere past the line of scrimmage. You're not getting anywhere inside. So maybe just rolling out, and it's worked. Why not just stick to it? So that's where one of these tricky situations gets into. And last week they weren't ahead. They were chasing from behind the whole time, so they didn't have this luxury. So as much as they do have experience, this is a completely different experience.
Empty backfield for Landmark. It's 1st and 10, 2:20 here in the third. Muff snap. Landmark breaks free. And a near nightmare turns into a good fortune. Brings up 2nd and short. And also a smart play from Lawson by, I don't know if it's a necessarily smart play, but heads up play by bending straight down, not, taking a knee. And because that blows it dead right away. And so, 2nd and 2. Well, under 2 minutes. Kamiah in business at their own, just past the 50. Keen's going to be split out here on the near side with Schoening. And Logos likely will bring 4. Landmark taking it himself. McCool breaks off the tackle. Off the block, and Landmark brought down from the shoulder, and a flag's going to fly there. A horse collar on the Knights. And a minute 30. Kamiah really getting into it.
Yeah, you like the feeling over here. We're sitting on the Kamiah side, and you can just feel the energy over here. It's picking up even more than it already was. And like I said, the bench over there for Kamiah is getting the crowd into it. And the Kamiah crowd, it's actually pretty full on this side, pretty full for a Friday night game.
It's a season opener, home opener.
This is true. This is true. Against a really good team in Logos, you're playing the number 2 team in the state, and you're showing up and showing out.
You got the End Zone Club on the far side. Maybe we'll get a snap of that later. That's the party place, I've heard. So
Really?
It's 1st and 10 at the 31.
I was wondering why I hadn't seen our cameraman Sam in a while.
Yeah, I apologize. 1st and 10. .130 low snap once more. Joshua Prince finds Landmark and throws him down. Huge play there by the defensive lineman. Once he got a hold of him, man. Not too often, we saw that earlier in the game where Landmark got grabbed by the jersey and he broke through. This time, Prince wasn't having it.
Yeah, using the grip strength, and said he isn't going anywhere this time. I'm taking him with me. I'm not going to be laying here by myself in the backfield looking silly.
2nd and 18, 45 seconds in the third. Schoening split out on the near side. They kick it out to Oatman. One-handed catch, but he stood up by Miller and brought down. Good catch by Everett Oatman, but a good play by the defensive back of Logos. Now 3rd down and still really long, and Kamiah may let the clock roll.
Yeah, if I was Kamiah, I'd just let the clock roll out.
Under 5 seconds here. And that will be the third quarter. As boy, do we got a good one here in Kamiah. 16-12, the home team leads Logos. We'll take a break, come back in 30 seconds on IdahoSports.com.
At Valleywide Cooperative, we're here when you need us. For 100 years, we have been here to help you with food, fuel, and good old-fashioned advice. And for us, serving is more than a job, it's a way of life, which is why we pour so much into the communities around us. We've employed hundreds of your neighbors. We take pride in that. and in giving back millions in sponsorships, grants, donations, and scholarships. It's our way of saying thanks. We're Valleywide, and yesterday, today, and tomorrow, we're here for you.
It's going to be 3rd and 18-15 for the Kamiah Kubs in Logos territory to start off the 4th quarter. We haven't talked about our power boosters, and we got to start with Cloninger's Marketplace for Kamiah, as well as Jesse Hunt Logging. Great power boosters. If you want to be a power booster, get a hold of sales at IdahoSports.com. For Logos, Forge, Construction, Norms, Window, Doors, and more, and Panhandle Heating. Well, if you're a fan up on the Prairie, or if you're just tuning in, you're curious about the Prairie Pirates, they defeated Lapwai tonight 72-14. So Prairie, with another big win, they move on to 3-0 on the year. Next week, Kamiah and Prairie play. Talk about a big game. And that one's here in Kamiah.
Yeah, that's a huge game for the White Pine. Could decide a lot, especially depending on how this game goes tonight.
Landmark back to pass. It's lots of time. And finally hit by Finn McCool, and it's going to bring up 4th down. Fourth down now and 15 for Kamiah.
So now you're inside the 50.
And I think Lawson Landmark's not in the game right now. Helmet's off. So typically that means we're going to punt. And not too often you see a team punt on their own side of the field, but when you don't have a field goal unit, kind of hard. So you have a lot of faith here in Everett Oatman to try to pin him deep. Peter Story's bringing the house himself, and he kicks it out of bounds. What a good punt by Everett Oatman inside the 20. That's exactly what you're looking for if you're the Cubs, and now your defense just has to hold strong. Didn't give up any points in the 3rd. What can you do now in the 4th?
Yeah, if you can, really, if you're Kamiah, one, you want to hold them. That's the obvious thing sitting out there. But if you can hold them and keep them back behind the 35, I'd say. Logos hasn't shown that their punting unit is that fantastic. Then you get the ball in good position, or you force a turnover, obviously, if that's in the cards. But you could get the ball back in good position here.
Covington, far side, down the sideline, gets the 1st down and 4 more. And that's been their offense, really. It's Baxter Covington on a read option and just trying to get to the edge. In an 8-man, I mean, that is the answer to almost everything. Get to the edge, and it's going to solve a lot of your problems. But that has been the success for Logos on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, that pretty much sums it up, but I feel like that's pretty much summed it up for him all year from what I've seen. It's the Baxter Covington show, and I mean, there's some pieces around him that are really talented, but he can really put this team on his back when he wants to.
This time up the middle to Mallory. And on the tackle there was the big man, Boone Cox. You hear Boone throughout the stadium right now.
Yeah, like I said, the interior defensive line for both teams
has been great.
I think that we expected it from Logos. Kamiah is kind of more of a surprise because of how good Logos' offensive line is. Kamiah has held their own and maybe done a little bit more than hold their own here tonight.
So Sensing's back in the ball game, no Covington. They send a man in motion. It's Sensing. He takes it himself, and it's going to be a holding call on the Knights. Honor Mallory was trying to hold a block and held on to Everett Oatman a little too long.
Yeah, when you got a speedster flying in there like that, he just stuck his arm out trying to make something happen, give Sensing a little bit more time. It just made it worse, and now they're backed up even farther, and that's that good field position that Kamiah is hoping for if they can hold them here over this drive.
Second and almost double sticks, 10-13 in the ball game. Kamiah holding on to that 4-point lead. Logos, more importantly, needs the first down. Covington back in the game. Sends Greaser in motion. Rolls out. Finds a man. It's Mr. Miller, and he's hit hard. Ball's on the ground. Talk about a hard hit. That was near the helmet area.
Yeah, it was near the helmet area, but his head was still up. The crown of his helmet didn't come down. He just came out right in front of him, stuck his arms out like a normal tackle, but who was that just had that reception? I didn't catch that, but whoever.
Gabe Miller, yeah.
Gabe Miller was standing straight up, which makes it hard. Hit him right in the face mask, and then the ball popped out just out of a little shock because Oatman came out of nowhere.
Logos has the ball, 3rd and 6. No, it's Covington. Covington, read option. Runs over Oatman, but he's not going to get the first. I think we should just delegate our cameraman to only focus on Everett Oatman tackles and go back in time and get all of Everett Oatman's tackles, because I'm telling you, it's a handful.
Yeah, I don't know, like however this league shakes out, and I obviously haven't got to watch everybody play this year, but I'm just saying it now, Everett Oatman should be considered for Defensive Player of the Year, and we're only 3 games into the year. Just saying.
It's 4th and 4. Here's a big play. Covington takes it himself, dragging forward. One official says he has the first. And they do move the chains. So a huge first down for the Logos offense with 8:30 in the ball game. And so new life for Logos. Got as close as possible on that 4th down, but
yeah, I mean as close as possible, but they've also milked off a lot of clock, and I really don't think that was Logos' plan coming into this game, but that's how their offense is gone.
Mallory brought down like a rag doll. On the tackle there, Dylan Lockhart, the 6'4", 200-pound senior. Yeah, Logos now, you're in a spot where you're milking clock, but you have to capitalize. You aren't going to want to be in a spot where you get inside Kamiah's 30 and you don't come away with any points. You need to score to stay in it. It's 2nd and 5 for Logos. Empty backfield for Covington. Mallory in motion. Sensing himself. Gonna bring up 3rd and 2. Covington comes back in. I still haven't figured out like their system for why they're changing quarterbacks. Like, they kind of do the same thing with both of them. Maybe it's just to let one of them get some air. Nonetheless, it's 3rd and 1, and Baxter Covington is at the helm. They go to Mallory, breaks one tackle, can't get the second. Landon Keene on the tackle there, as well as Damien Ochoa. And they're going to mark him just short of the marker. So now 4th and 1 once more, 6:30 in the 4th.
Yeah, I mean, Hayden, to answer your question, I don't know if I exactly actually have the answer, but from what I can tell, that unorthodox offense where it's super spread out, you have 2 linemen offset right next to the center, and then they step back up onto the line. That seems to be more when Sensing's playing quarterback, that but it's not all the time. So it's not 100% bulletproof, but that seems to be more when they want him back there versus Covington.
As always, these guards right now are eligible. One is still eligible. And a false start. You have guards leaning forward, players leaning forward, and back Logos up 5 more yards. So now 4th and 6. You know, this is a team that the last 2 years, you don't see this a lot. You know, when Logos first started, is Logos takes a timeout. When Logos first started their program 5 years ago, you saw a lot of pre-snap penalties from false starts, offsides, whatever it is. There was a lot of them. And in the last 3 years where Logos has really picked up steam, it's kind of all disappeared. And this is the first time in a while where I've seen Logos have, 5, 10 plus penalties in a game, and a lot of them are all pre-snap. And so it's kind of, it's different, and it shows a testament to Kamiah right now and how disciplined Kamiah's defense is. And they are more than in this ball game. They're in a really good shot to win it. It's, 4th and 6 right now. Logos has 2 timeouts, and there's 6 minutes left in the ball game.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny when you look at the stats at halftime. You're like, oh, Logos should be winning this game by a lot. They have a lot more rushing yards, quite a few more passing yards. Overall, that looks like they should be winning the game. And outside of that Lawson Landmark long run that Kamiah had, I'm pretty sure that Logos has more yards total on the game. They just can't seem to, fully capitalize on their drives, and then they shoot themselves in the foot with a false start or whatever it may be, and just pushes them back. Now they're in a 4th and 6 in a really scary spot.
Well, here's the biggest play of the ball game. Covington empty backfield. Linemen shift off. Greaser in motion. Covington rolling out. Looking to throw. Finds Greaser. No one's going to catch him this time. Ace Greaser into the end zone for a touchdown. And what do you know? The Knights are back on top.
Yeah, and that was just out of the fingertips of Lawson Landmark. Just got a little confused on that unorthodox offense that we've kind of been talking about all game, and just barely missed out of his fingertips, and ends up a big gain for Logos. And now it is 16-18 Logos, and going for 2, I would assume. And then Kamiah will get the ball back with 5 minutes and 50 seconds left to see if they can do exactly what they did last week.
Two-point lead for the Knights and a 2-point conversion upcoming. Greaser in motion. Covington low snap, finds Greaser, and gets to the edge. Gets the 2, and the Knights have a 4-point lead with 5:50 in the ballgame. We'll take a quick break, come back here on IdahoSports.com. Logos with the lead.
Idaho isn't your average state, and we are not your average people. We're not afraid to jump feet first, and we see the world a little differently. We know the importance of slowing down and the value of catching up. When we're not busy getting lost, we're looking out for one another. Our whitewater is aggressive, but our driving is not. We know all about taking chances, but we also know our limits. We drive safely because we care. It's who we are.
$5.50 left in the 4th quarter. This 8-man classic. Logos leads 20-16 over the Kamiah Kubs. Logos was the number 2 ranked team in the state of Idaho in the media and coaches poll. I do not believe Kamiah was receiving any votes on either poll. McCool to kick off. And Oatman's going to get a crack at this one. Gets past a man. Down the sideline, finally brought down up near the 40. Good defense, kick return, kickoff defense from Logos. I guarantee that's not what Nick Holloway was wanting, is Everett Oatman touching that ball.
Yeah, I don't know if they did it there, but I know they did it out of halftime. As soon as the kicker turned around, him and Todd Roberts actually swapped spots. So whatever plan that the coach had, or whatever plan the kicker had, Finn McCool, when he turned around, they would swap it, so then it would confuse him before they got it kicked off, which actually throws off the rest of your then defense on what way you're going to run. But to hit on your point, Kamiah actually did have some votes in the media poll. They would have been ranked 6th, and in the coaches poll, they were sitting a ways back around the 8th spot. But either way, huge underdog.
Landmark rolling out, finally finds Oatman underneath in the flats, and can't break through the tackle of Baxter Covington. I thought Lawson, he's kind of jogging out to his far side, has the ball tucked under his, shoulder, and I thought he was going to, I wasn't sure what he was doing there. Maybe run the ball, and then no, turns everything down, decides to throw it off to Everett. Yeah. If you're Kamiah, though, I think ideally you're wanting to milk this clock down, but you're wanting to get one solid drive put together. This is the drive. This is the drive of your season. This is what you're wanting. Even though we're 4 weeks in, this would be a huge win for Kamiah. Is it 2nd and 6 for Landmark? Low snap. Landmark looking to the sideline. Both Cubs go for it, and both are there. And Oatman steals it away from Todd Roberts. Todd Roberts was sitting there waiting for the ball, and Everett decides to take things into his own hands and just steal it from him.
Yeah, I don't know what the play call exactly was there, but I would have to guess it wasn't to have both your wide receivers end up in the same exact spot. And I'm pretty sure that was supposed to go to Todd Roberts, but shocker, Everett Oatman's everywhere on the field, on defense and on offense. Flies in. He's going to make sure that one's caught. And picks up a good gain, and the clock keeps rolling.
4:15, first down and 10 for Kamiah, right at the 49 of their own side of the field. Landmark, quick screen, quick slant to Gavin Schoening to the 40.
I think that's the first time we've seen well, that's not true. I can't say that. That's the first time, other than a screen play, that we've seen Lawson Landmark sit in the pocket and make a pass. Outside of a screen play, that's the first time it's happened and it was on a slant. And it was a nice ball, straight to the chest plate. Good-looking ball, a little bobble, but it was a good ball.
So now 1st and 10 from the 39. Clock still ticking, 3:30 here in the 4th. Next week, Logos will be playing Coeur de Christ, which is a huge game in a lot of different ways. It's a game between the Catholics and the Christians, and it's also a huge game in the sense that Coeur de Christ is one of the best teams in 1A football. They're a team this is their 2nd year in program history. Grant Clemens is the quarterback. I don't know if you know his dad. His dad's Kellen Clemens, former NFL quarterback for the Rams and the Jets, and I believe the Buccaneers. I could be making that one up, but huge game next week for Logos against a really good team. But this is probably a lot bigger moment in their season than what's coming next week, and I guarantee that's not on their mind.
Yeah, that's almost like Logos the sequel. If you really think about it, like Logos didn't have a program a few years ago, and then they come out and they make themselves a big program right away.
1st and 5 for Landmark. Sets in the pocket, fading out to the flats. Can't find Logan Keene. His brother Landon Keene on the staff. One of 7 coaches for Kamiah.
Yeah, what a coaching staff they put together for an 8-man football school. That means you have a lot of people, a lot of adults that want to see this program succeed and are okay with investing their time in it. Actually, more than okay with investing their time in it, because it takes a lot of time to coach a football team, and I think people have to put respect on that for every single team in the state. It takes a lot of time to coach a football team, and the parents should appreciate that, and everyone watching should as well.
2nd and 5, 2:49 in the 4th. Oatman next to Landmark. They send Everett in motion. Dropping back, looking on the wheel route, looking for a receiver, and Greaser can't hold on. Ace Greaser almost comes away with the interception.
Yeah, I think that was probably the first ball Lawson Landmark threw tonight. That was a little bit questionable of a throw into some coverage that wasn't quite certain of. You could tell he thought that his wide receiver was going to break away and he could just toss it up there for him. Not the case, but still a nice looking ball. He threw it out farther in front of him than your wide receiver. That's what you can always ask for when you're throwing a deep ball from the coaching perspective.
3rd and 6, likely 2 plays here to get the first down. I think there's no question about it at all. 2:43 in the 4th. Logos hanging on to the 4-point lead. Across the middle finds Todd Roberts, and a huge hit by Baxter Covington ends up incomplete. And I think that is a clean play. Baxter Covington was right there when the ball hit Todd Roberts.
Yeah, I would say it's a clean play as well. I mean, obviously for the Kamiah Kubs. Oh, the flag came out late. They decided he hit him a little bit early, or it was too high, I guess. Defenseless wide receiver, or whatever that term is.
What do we know? 1st and 10 for Kamiah is what it looks like.
That is precisely why we do this, and we do not ref football games.
But we still want referees. Absolutely. So, wait, what's going on here? They got cheers coming on. They're backing up. Now I think they're going to mark it off. Okay, 4th and goal, fourth down, and they're going to make it now a 1st down for Kamiah. That makes sense, I think. So it's now 1st and 10 from the 20. 2:35 in the ball game. A whirlwind of emotions there, and turn of events for everyone just trying to put together what's going on.
And Todd Roberts is back in the game. He's doing all right. He was a little slow to get up there. Hard hit, but he seems to be all right.
Landmark 20 yards out. 2:30. Rolls right. Looking for Oatman in the corner of the end zone. Finds Roberts and just a little too low.
That's a good ball there. He didn't have any options there. All the cornerbacks did really well covering all the crossing routes there. But just throwing it low and at the feet. And if your wide receiver happens to get to it, he gets to it, and you get 8-9 yards. But if he doesn't, no harm, no foul. There's still 2:24 on the clock, and you're in a really good spot.
2nd and 10 for Kamiah. Clock stopped at 2:24. Logos defense had a breakup in the secondary, but a penalty flag gives Kamiah new life. 3 receivers on the near side, 1 on the far. Landmark drops back, has a rusher coming in. Looking across the middle, finds Roberts inside the 10. 2:18 left in the game, and Kamiah 9 yards from taking the lead.
Yeah, and you definitely don't want to leave too much time on the clock, right? I mean, yes, your defense has played really well, but Logos, as we know, has some big powerhouses, and last week you left, 10 seconds left on the clock?
You almost still lost the game, yeah.
Yeah, so you don't want to leave too much time on the clock here. That's assuming that they score. But you're in a good spot now. This is the third time they've been in the first and goal situation, and it's taken them 4 times each time, each of the other 2 times. So you actually probably won all 4 times. This time milk a little bit more clock.
Kamiah does have 3 timeouts. Logos brings pressure. Across the middle, Todd Roberts once more, the safety blanket to the 1. 134. Now who, as a coach, I think if you're Garrison Bretz, you let everything go, and a timeout taken on the field, Logos will take it. That's their second. So Kamiah can run this thing down really close with 1:28 left. It's second and goal from they gave him at the 2.
Yeah, so for Logos here, I mean, you got 2 options. A lot of people aren't going to like the option of just letting them score so you can get the ball back as fast as possible. If you believe in your offense can march down the field, it's really tough to stop a team on the 1-yard line. They've pushed them back the other 2 times, so they do have that going for them. So do you play, do you bet on yourself and just basically let them score? We've seen it work out for, I've seen it work out for college teams at least, or do you just try to buck up and stop them on the 1-yard line and then you just walk away with a win? It's really it's a tough situation to be in, honestly.
It's really just that simple, yep. 128. Oatman in the slot. Landmark takes it himself up the middle and walks in. Kamiah with the lead. And there's 1:27 left in the game. Lawson Landmark has another touchdown run. His second 2-yard run of the game. And now the 2-point conversion. This is something to think about. You want to get this. I wouldn't say field goals are out of the question, but it is possible.
Yeah, you don't know if they've practiced it. I mean, if Finn McCool is also the PAT kicker, he has a good leg on him at least, is also the field goal and PAT kicker. I mean, maybe you have a shot. He has a good leg on him. You never know.
Landmark finds Roberts, and they say incomplete. Hits the ground first. And Logos gets the 2-point stop. But now with 1:27, there's no doubt this game will come down to the last play. We'll take our last break of the evening and come back in 30 seconds here on IdahoSports.com.
At Valleywide Cooperative, we're here when you need us. For 100 years, we have been here to help you with food, fuel, and good old-fashioned advice. And for us, serving is more than a job, it's a way of life, which is why we pour so much into the communities around us. We've employed hundreds of your neighbors. We take pride in that, and in giving back millions in sponsorships, grants, donations, and scholarships. It's our way of saying thanks. We're Valleywide, and yesterday, today, and tomorrow, we're here for you.
We're back here in Kamiah, and I tell you what, it is chaos here. It's 1:27 in the 4th quarter. Glad to have you with us. Hayden Ulenkai here, as well as Kyle Schwartz for our North Idaho game night. And I tell you what, when Paul Kingsbury looked at the schedule at the beginning of the year and said, you know what, Kamiah, Logos, that's the game I want our Central Idaho broadcasters to go, do. He was right, and you don't say that much about him, but I tell you what, he was right on the money there. Boy, do we got a thriller. But there's still 1:27. And, just the last time we saw Logos on offense, Ace Greaser scored on a 54-yard touchdown. So it's not like Logos isn't capable of big plays. We just haven't seen a lot of it so far.
Yeah, we haven't seen a lot of it, but we also haven't seen a lot of that unorthodox offense. Yes, it's a little bit different than a lot of the other 8-man schools from what they ran today, but not that really different offsetting everybody, moving everyone around, and that's what confused him. That's what got lost in landmark in no man's land with a wide open ace greaser behind him. So maybe they mix it up, match it with that, or, Baxter Covington is really good. Maybe you just let him work for the next minute and 27.
Oatman puts it in a good spot, and it's going to kick out, and that's going to put Logos at the 40-yard line.
Yeah, I think that if you're Kamiah, I hope that you are as confident in your abilities as you should be right now. You're up, but being in a position on defense, you start to question, should I do this? Should I do that? When you're just trying to do everything, but like you don't want to play to not do wrong, if you will, Hayden. And so you start questioning a little bit. And basically, these next minute 27, just do what you've done all game. Take a breath. You'll be all right. And I think Everett Oatman is probably going to make some big tackles here in the next minute 27 and can really seal the game. Or Baxter Covington. It's really that's the beautiful thing about 8-man football. It can be your two best players going not one-on-one, but
Mano.
Yeah.
Logos is going to elect to have Kamiah re-kick. So they pin him back even deeper. So this will be ace greaser. Has lots of space. And luckily, Damian Ochoa is right there to bring him down at the 41. And so talk about good starting field position. Who knows? Maybe Finn McCool has a leg on him. I don't know. But I think Logos is going to do what they can to avoid that and score. But Logos only has one timeout left. Kamiah, I believe, has all three.
I believe you're right, Hayden. I think that Logos only has one. And on top of that, the passing hasn't been great outside of that one long bomb from Baxter Covington. So stopping the clock becomes more difficult.
Covington finds Sensing, but he's hit right as he catches it. Gavin Schoening. Kamiah, or Logos rather, has to move. They had the 2-minute drill in the first half, and it did not go well. So now, time's against you, and the scoreboard's not with you. Covington, empty backfield. Looking across the middle, no one's home.
Yeah, the wide receiver thought everybody was going on go routes there. Baxter Covington thought he was running a slant. A little miscommunication, but it stops the clock.
Third and 8. 57 seconds left in the ball game. Logos has one timeout, and an official has to tie his shoe. We're ready to roll. Covington finds across the middle once more. And I don't know if that was a first down. The clock did stop, so it does look like they'll give them. And the clock's starting to move now. And somebody's got to stop doing what they're doing. Logos will take the timeout. I really don't know where they're going with this. It looks like it's short. One official stopped the clock. The head referee said, no, we're going. And 7 seconds burned off.
Yeah.
And so they're going to mark it fourth, and oh boy, this looks like fourth and a foot, fourth and 2 feet, fourth and 3 feet, call it a yard.
Yeah.
Here's the play. Here's the play of the game.
This is huge. And Logos I think they're pretty capable of getting that 1 to 2 feet. They seem to be able to get 3 to 4 yards when they want it. It's been the fact that they've shot themselves in the foot throughout the game. That's why they're in this situation. So I would imagine you're just going to see a Baxter Covington run the ball here, get his 3 to 4 yards like he probably deserves.
Well, and then you got to get on your, got to get back on the ball and snap another play or spike the first down just so you can get the clock stopped. Because, like we mentioned, Logos now no timeouts. 48 seconds, 4th down and 1. Covington all alone. Sends Greaser in motion. Takes it himself up the middle, and I think he got the first. He sure did move the chains. Clock stops for the time being. And they're right back on it. And the clock stops once again. 2 seconds burn off. Good play management, clock management from Logos.
Yeah, I could, correct me if I'm wrong, Hayden, but I don't know if the clock should have started yet because the chains weren't set.
Well, then that would be correct. Somebody's a little antsy up there.
I was surprised the refs let them even snap the ball. Usually they won't let them snap it till the chains are set, but they did. They got the clock stopped, but it's kind of maybe a waste of a down that maybe wasn't needed.
2nd and 10. Covington. Slant once more, and that's not going to do it. The clock's going to move here.
Yeah, slants aren't going to get it done. I mean, they'll get you a couple yards, but you got to be able to stop the ball and get out of bounds.
Quarterback sub, 25 seconds. Look for Covington here. It's 3rd down and 5. Clock still moving. Sensing. Pump faked. Looking deep. No, turns down and throws it short, and it's incomplete. So now, 4th down, 13 seconds. 4th down and 5 it is. So Logos still can get a first down.
Yeah, that's a crazy substitution to make with 25 seconds left. Switch out your quarterback. You probably wasted a good 7-8 seconds there just making that change. And now the crowd's really getting into it.
Yeah, you got people on your feet. They're ready to roll. 13 seconds in the ball game. Kamiah. Can they knock off the number 2 team in the state? It's 4th down and 5. Baxter Covington will be in the shotgun for Logos. A slant, no one's home, and Kamiah is going to win the ball game.
The Cubs. The Cubs, man.
A slant where they were looking for Joseph Sensing, it looked like, but no one was there. And now Kamiah, who comes in 2-0, had a huge win against Council, just put a lot more respect on the name of the Kamiah Kubs. They're going to move to 3-0, and Logos will drop to 2-1.
And then the big matchup next week with Kamiah and Prairie facing off.
Talk about fireworks. Where are we going to be? We do have the week off. Kingsbury, make it happen. And Kamiah will kneel it, and they will win this ball game. The Cubs overcome the halftime
We're Valley-wide cooperative. For 100 years, we've been your first choice for residential and commercial propane, fuels, oils, and lubricants. We service HVAC, install water heaters, propane tanks, and accessories. And yes, we'll even deliver right where you need it. Because for us, serving is more than a job, it's a way of life. We are proud to employ your neighbors and to be a cornerstone of your community. We're Valley-wide. Yesterday, today, and tomorrow. We're here for you. At Valleywide Cooperative, we're here when you need us. For 100 years, we have been here to help you with food, fuel, and good old-fashioned advice. And for us, serving is more than a job, it's a way of life, which is why we pour so much into the communities around us. We've employed hundreds of your neighbors. We take pride in that, and in giving back millions in sponsorships, grants, donations, and scholarships. It's our way of saying thanks. We're Valleywide, and yesterday, today, and tomorrow, we're here for you.
We're back here on IdahoSports.com. Glad to have you with us as we just finished a great ball game here in Kamiah as the Cubs knock off Logosh 22-20 and move on to 3-0 as Logosh drops to 2-1. If we had to name a player of the game, Kyle, who are we going with?
I think we're going with Everett Oatman tonight. We talked about him a lot. He was flying everywhere, but it was a tough decision. I mean, Lawson Landmark made some great plays all game. Led the offense through, was cool, calm, and collected back there. And then Todd Roberts also made 3 really incredible catches at the end of the game that really set them up in a good position to win the ball game and just be in a good spot in the red zone. But I think we go with Everett Oatman. He had probably 15-plus tackles on the game.
Yeah, we're not going to minimize it. We're just going to give, a plus.
Yeah, we're going to take the over on Everett Oatman with 15. And he also made a couple really impressive catches and knew his role, didn't try to do too much. He had some huge offensive games earlier this year and really stepped it up on defense to make the difference tonight.
He sure did. And, man, you talk about a good game next week. Kamiah and Prairie. I tell you what, we need to do something about that. We need to find a way to come back down here to Kamiah. I don't know if my wife will be happy with me, but that's okay. Well, it's our anniversary. Don't tell her.
I'm aware, Hayden. I am very aware. Happy early anniversary to Hayden and Nicole.
Don't say that. Today's player of the game is brought to you by our Idaho Office of Highway Safety, reminding you to always keep your head in the game. Whether you're on the field or the road, be in the moment and free from distractions. It's going to be Everett Oatman, 15-plus tackles. This has been an IdahoSports.com Game Streams production of our North Idaho Game Night. Coverage on IdahoSports.com is presented by Project Filter, Valleywide Cooperative, Next Steps Idaho, Ideal, Idaho College Savings Program, and the Idaho Office of Highway Safety. Special thanks to everyone here at Kamiah High School and the Bob Squire Sports Complex for their hospitality and helping us get this game broadcast to you. Congratulations again to our Idaho Office Highway Safety Player of the Game, Everett Oatman. And thanks again for joining us as the Kamiah Kubs defeat the Logosh Knights 22-20 and move on to 3-0. As for everyone here in Kamiah, as well as my broadcast partner, Kyle Schwartz, this is Hayden Uhlenkott wishing you a good evening.
This has been a presentation of IdahoSports.com Game Streams. This broadcast is copyrighted to IdahoSports.com.